All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today and for waiting patiently, as always, for the intro to finish up. I hope everybody's doing well today. We're just coming off of a 2-hour morning with the misses, which is a stream we do with members where Mrs. MBG joins us. And it was, as always, a really good time, really fun time. But yes, we are still doing a regular stream today. We have some topics to discuss, some things to go over. We are talking about multiple games being announced during yesterday's Xbox Developer Direct and how these games are confirmed to not only be coming to PlayStation 5, but to also be PlayStation 5 Pro Enhanced. And on top of that, some of them are getting physical releases as well. And we'll just kind of talk about how Microsoft's Developer Direct was in general. We did talk about it briefly yesterday, but we'll go a little bit more in depth today. We're talking about some sales data, which I do find interesting. One of the things we're learning is that the PS5 is still pacing ahead of the PS4 in the US anyway, which is Sony's most important market, which is really interesting to me. Very, very interesting. We're going to go over some of that sales data, maybe try to figure out what it might mean, how it might explain some of the things we're seeing. And we're also going to be talking about Final Fantasy VII Part 3. We have some news and some updates on that. And we're just going to have some general discussions as well, as we usually do with the chat. So again, thank you guys for joining me. We are starting a little bit later today because we did a morning with the misses. So I hope you guys are all right with that. Before we dive into any of these topics or anything like that, I do want to update you. As you can see on screen, we have reached 500 channel members through either people gifting memberships or becoming channel members. We've reached the 500 spot. So what I decided to do is make the goal more within reach, right? I decided to reduce the overall goal needed in order to achieve this bonus stream of of playing Sekiro, bonus stream with me and Mrs. MBG, and I will be trying to not beat Sekiro, but see how far I can get. And so we are halfway there. We have until January 31st, the end of the day, January 31st. We'll see if we can end up hitting that goal or not. But with that being said, guys, consider supporting the channel, consider supporting the content. I can only do this because you guys make it possible. You are the sponsors of the channel. That 2-hour morning with the misses we did earlier for channel members, that's only possible because of you guys. So please consider becoming a channel member and you gain access to some of these exclusive perks and you get to support me directly. Consider dropping membership gifts. Consider dropping a super chat. Consider doing a direct donation, which I did get one from Moonshot, which I'm going to read. These are ways in which you can support the content, the community, and the channel directly. Moonshot with a direct donation says, and just like that, the definition of first party completely changed. We went from PlayStation having a trash 2024 to publishing games is first party overnight. Amazing. Yes, I have seen this, and the hypocrisy is unbelievable. Well, actually, maybe it's very believable when you see who it's coming from, right? It's the same group of people. It's the same thing. It's the same goalpost moving. Last year, it was Rise of the Ronin is absolutely not a first-party game. We're not going to count that. It doesn't matter. It's not a game we're going to put in our list of games that we use to tell you why our platform's so great. You can't do that with Rise of the Ronin, a Team Ninja game that was published by Sony. No, you can't do that. But hey, if it's Xbox and Xbox is publishing it, you can do it. Yeah, it's absolutely. We will yell it from the rooftops. It is a first-party Microsoft game. It's a joke. It's a joke. These people have really embraced the joke to a new degree here where everybody's in on it and they're just okay with it. And that's fine. If that's how they want to go about it, then they can go about it that way. But the reality is, if we are now saying that Ninja Gaiden 4 is a first-party Microsoft game, then we will also say that Rise of the Ronin is a first-party PlayStation game, just like we can also say Stellar Blade is a first-party PlayStation game. I would love to see the individuals who are now moving the goalposts and claiming that, well, hey, Ninja Gaiden 4 is now a first-party game. I would love to see them reevaluate and reanalyze PlayStation's lineup in 2024. I'd be very curious to see what they would have to say then. No, but they won't do that. There were people on the stream yesterday thinking Ninja Gaiden would be Xbox exclusive. I mean, I was waiting till the end to see if they were going to announce it for PS5. It would have been maybe not totally shocking if it wasn't announced for PS5 just because Xbox was publishing it. But at the same time, I'm like, well, if they want their game to sell, they're going to have to release it on PS5. And they did, which was good. Thoughts on the Xbox Direct? I thought it was so great. It's what Sony needs to do. Sony, I think, could take a couple of notes in that one of the things that people seem to like about Microsoft's Xbox Developer Direct is the fact that they kind of let the devs go somewhat deep into their games, right? They take 4 to 5 games and they give the devs a pretty solid amount of time to go over it. I do think this is something that Sony should seriously consider doing. To be fair, they have done this. They've just did it in a different way. The way Sony would do this is they would do it on an individual game basis. And I think some people maybe forget that. Sony, well, to be fair, it's been a little while since they've done it. But the way Sony would do it is, all right, look, we have a big first-party AAA game coming out. We're going to do a whole dedicated state of play just for that game. And so the developer does a deep dive, and they get their time. Sony has done that. And so I guess maybe the big difference here is maybe Sony would consider taking a couple of their games and doing it at one time. But I don't know. I think if they just want to continue to do it one game at a time when the timing is right, I think that's fine too. But yeah, people are super hyped about Ninja Gaiden 4 being announced. There were rumors that that was going to be the secret game that showed up at the Xbox Developer Direct. And yeah, they really delivered. Not only are you getting Ninja Gaiden 4, but they also shadow dropped a Ninja Gaiden 2 remake, which, by the way, is also PS5 Pro Enhanced. It released on the PlayStation 5. It's $50. It's PS5 Pro Enhanced, and PlayStation is getting a physical version from Play Asia, which is really cool to see because I think that there are definitely some people who are going to want to get that game physically. You're saying you started playing it last night. The movement feels a little bit wonky. I wonder why that is. It's free on Game Pass. It's not free on Game Pass. You pay for Game Pass. You're paying, I mean, Game Pass is a great deal. It's a great value, but you're still paying money for it. You're not getting it for free. But I think the big takeaway from yesterday's Xbox Developer Direct is what we can expect from Microsoft going forward. And what we can expect is that basically everybody's going to win. Hey, if you play on PlayStation and you like buying your games, whether it be digitally or physically, and you don't want to go anywhere, you're going to get the games. That's great. Hey, if you're subscribed to Game Pass and you like Game Pass and you like the deal that we're giving you, you're going to get more games on Game Pass. Great. Hey, if you're on PC, you're going to get our games too. Great. And eventually, once the Switch 2 is fully unveiled, that's going to happen as well. So ultimately, I think, you're seeing a lot of fanboying and console warring going on after yesterday's Xbox Developer Direct. But I think the reality of it is basically everybody's winning. The only game that isn't coming to PlayStation is South of Midnight. And, I think that's fine. I guess some people could use that as a, some kind of console war weapon. Omega /Buster with a $5 super chat says AI limit and Lost Soul Aside are also PlayStation first party. Exactly. Yeah. Now they're first party, right? See, it's a two-way street. At the end of the day, it's a two-way street. Thank you for pointing that out, Omega /Buster, and thank you for the super chat. You know it will, MBG. Chris, you're saying you held off on Indiana Jones because you're hoping for the Pro version, or you're hoping that the Pro version will have extra bells and whistles. Well, I mean, considering every other game that was announced at the Xbox Developer Direct, outside of South of Midnight is going to be PS5 Pro enhanced. It's safe to say that Indiana Jones is going to be PS5 Pro enhanced as well. You know what the funniest thing is, though, too, when you see these kind of nonsensical arguments that people are having, these ridiculous takes on Twitter and in other spaces, it's like, LOL, ponies are funding Xbox and Xbox Game Studios. Like, I hate to break it to you, while you are correct about that, Sony is also making money as well. It's very funny to me that they leave that out. Like, I understand the need to just keep that console war or that platform war alive, but what are you talking about? Sony's also now going to make more money than they otherwise would have thanks to Microsoft bringing games over. Is Microsoft making the bulk of that money? Yes, but again, Sony's getting a 30% rip off of millions of sales that they potentially otherwise wouldn't have gotten. So it's just, again, it's people are not, they're not, the thing that's really difficult to witness occurring right now is people not seeing the whole picture or cherry picking what they want to show and what they want to talk about. And it's like, listen, if you want to celebrate the fact that Ninja Gaiden 4 is a first-party Xbox game, you cannot do so without first acknowledging that, yeah, if Sony does that exact thing, then you have to acknowledge that those are now considered first-party games as well by your own logic. But they will ignore that. And that, to me, is just where things get ridiculous, where it's like, why are people willingly doing this? Why are they opting into this nonsense? This illogical nonsense. Saying them Xbox players are an absolute embarrassment. Dude, there are a lot of people in the space right now that are absolute embarrassments, man. The stuff I've been seeing over the last 12 hours, oh my God. Oh my God. Like, one of the biggest things that I've seen people talking about yesterday is how I said on my stream, and I was not feeling very well yesterday. I'm sure that was blatantly obvious as I was doing my stream. I probably shouldn't have streamed yesterday. I'm going to be honest. I pushed myself to anyway. But one of the things I said once the show was over is like, yeah, maybe I'll subscribe to Game Pass. I might consider subscribing to Game Pass. What's so funny to me is people are losing their minds over this as if this is some kind of like, oh my God, MBG's going to go to Game Pass. He's done with PlayStation. Like, it's funny because they don't listen. Not only do they not listen, they don't pay attention to the content. They use this stuff to their advantage out of context. They do it purposely. Everybody who's watching them knows they're doing it purposely. And they do it because their entire content flow is, and not just content flow, I mean, just even on Twitter, it's all about, I will get attention by being disingenuous, and anybody who is partaking in this knows how disingenuous I'm being, and we're all just going to be okay with it. When the reality of the situation is that, dude, I subscribed to Game Pass before. I literally, last year, on stream, on my channel, played Hellblade 2 through Game Pass on my PC. But people are going to act as if this is some kind of, shocking revelation. And the worst part about it is when I say that they're leaving context out, if you listen to the remainder of my stream, which it wasn't even that long, if you listen to the remainder of it, you know that I also stated that it's because I have to think about some of these games and whether or not I want to actually buy them and have them and play them from start to finish if I'm going to be that committed. Buy physical versions and commit to that game. Or maybe, just maybe, I will consider subscribing to Game Pass and try some of them out. And if I like them enough, maybe I'll buy them on PlayStation. But I'm not sure. Doom is the one that I'm kind of unsure of right now because it looks really, really good. But I haven't really played much Doom. But I really liked what I saw. And I'm like, it is releasing on PlayStation 5. There will be a physical version. There will be trophy support. So I'm leaning much more in the direction of, I think I'm going to, if I want to play this, I think I'm going to buy it on PlayStation 5. But there is also that kind of thought of, I could always just drop that $20 for a month, try Doom out, and maybe a couple of other games, see what I think. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's so strange to see the way people behave over this stuff. Why do I try to fight with these people? I'm not, to be clear, I'm not fighting with anybody. I'm just pointing out what I'm seeing and talking about how stupid it is. And how if you see this as well, you should understand how nonsensical and ridiculous it is, because like none of this is done. I mean, there are spaces where it's done with some actual sincerity, but most of what I see out there is like none of this is sincere. You know, none of it is sincere. When you're looking in certain spaces and certain circles, it's sad, man. It is, because it's just like everybody's winning, man. Like that's what blows my mind is it goes to show that like literally PlayStation fans, I saw PlayStation fans kind of joking around yesterday saying like that was a great state of play or that was a great PlayStation Direct. And you literally can't argue that. You literally can't say, no, that's not true. No, it is true. 4/5 of that show was PlayStation. 4 out of 5 games were are coming to PS5 and will have the better console version. That is just as much a PlayStation show as it is an Xbox show. Now, does that mean somehow Xbox players are losing out on something? No, I don't necessarily think so. But Xbox players have made it abundantly clear that they are okay and on board with what Microsoft is doing. They're okay that Microsoft is basically walking away from the console. They're okay with the fact that they're all in on Game Pass, and they're okay with the fact that they're bringing games to PlayStation, and not only that, but enhancing games for Sony's premium console. These are the same players that were all on board with the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series X, but now none of that matters. But at the end of the day, man, everybody's winning. Everybody's winning. And it's really not that bad. It's really not. I mean, you might see people saying, well, no, PlayStation isn't winning because PlayStation has no games. To which I say, you're just not paying attention. You're probably the same type of person that's out there on Twitter being like, hey, Ninja Gaiden 4 is a first-party Xbox game, while simultaneously completely dumping on Rise of the Ronin, saying that doesn't count. Start to notice a pattern here. But yeah, man, overall, I think Xbox's Developer Direct was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't necessarily super thrilled. I was having a struggle yesterday. I saw you guys in the chat talking about it, and I was just trying not to like acknowledge it too much. But yeah, I was not well yesterday. I was physically unwell, and so I didn't want to just like abruptly end the stream. I'm like, all right, I gotta commit to this. I gotta finish what I started. But you know, hindsight 2020, I definitely should have just not streamed, and today I probably should have just reacted to it. But yeah, no, you know what it is? Mrs. MBG and I talked about this in the morning with the missus. I gotta watch what I'm eating sometimes, because I think I'm starting to become allergic to MSG, like hypersensitive to it, because I've been eating things with MSG in it recently. But like a week and a half ago, I had like 2 ramens with like 2 of the packets, and they're like loaded with MSG, and I felt like I poisoned myself. I was really messed up. I was like super messed up. So I think I have to be a little bit more careful about what I'm consuming, because it's like the next day I'm just like, you know, like I'm just not functioning. My allergies with Xbox. Yeah, dude, I'm allergic to Xbox. But I knew that was going to work against me. I'm like, man, this isn't going to be a good look, but you know, it is what it is. You're absolutely correct. MBG, it doesn't matter what logic you give. The only thing that won't change is Xbox clowning you. Absolutely correct. Yeah. Well, I just hope that people kind of wise up a little bit, at least some people, and realize that none of this is about being fair or consistent or anything like that. It's just about, like you're saying, clowning on people and dunking on people where you can, any chance you get. Even if it means being disingenuous and kind of twisting things and altering things. You know, one of the most comical things I saw yesterday is when I was checking my stream. It was out publicly for a little bit, but I had a comment that had a bunch of upvotes, And that comment basically was somebody saying how, like, you know, MBG when PlayStation cancels a bunch of games, this is fine, guys. This is a good thing. Everything's okay. MBG when Xbox shows a bunch of games that are coming out this year, that was bad. That wasn't good, guys. And it's just like, the person claims they were joking, but it's like, dude, I literally said that was a good show. It's fucking insane. Like, it's insane, dude. Where it's like, I'm not really sure why there are so many people in on this. Where it's like, what are you, like, what are they expecting? You know what I mean? Like, what are they expecting? It's like, it's a serious question where it's like, I don't get it. Your whole position is you think Xbox is better than PlayStation. And you think people who like PlayStation more than Xbox, or what Microsoft is doing, or even PC, right? Your whole position is, well, they're just dumb. And I don't understand that, generally speaking, because it's like, what are you talking about? People prefer what they prefer. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you think this is better or that's better, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to agree with you. To have that type of mentality, now that there's something wrong with that. But it's like, there's no winning. At the end of the day, that's really what it boils down to, is there's no winning. Because, like I said, for 90% of the people doing this, it's not about anything other than, I need content. And they don't hide it. Some of them do hide it, some of them don't. And that's fine. You know, do what you do, but what is ultimately, I would say, sad to see is that more and more people are just like, yeah, that's fine. It's like, okay, I guess this is just how it will be then. That's cool. You know, we will clown on PlayStation fanboys, even though those PlayStation fanboys are saying that Game Pass is a pretty good deal and it's fine and that Xbox show was good. We will continue to clown on them. Very, very strange, dude. It's very strange behavior. Dare I say, a bit of mental illness spreading like wildfire. Sad to see, but I guess it's just the way it's going to be, man. Because, I don't know, people who were staunch defenders of the Xbox console, the Xbox ecosystem, every decision that Xbox or Microsoft made for the last 12 years, they are now completely on board with Microsoft doing what they're doing, you know, by going third party. It's like, okay, all right. I'm not sure who's losing here. I really don't know. But according to them, somebody's losing. Is he saying it's because I looked depressed after Xbox had a good show and bad optics? Yeah, I probably should have acknowledged it. I didn't want to, because it's just like, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to make the fact that I have a fucking horrible headache and I feel like shit the focal point of, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, guys, I feel like shit, but I'm gonna sit here anyway. And you get what I mean? It's just like, to me, but yeah, looking back, you're probably right. But no, Xbox's show was good, man. Also, it's weird. It's weird that people were saying that, because it's like, did those people not watch my stream with the Xbox showcase last year? No, I don't think they did. They probably didn't. No, because why would they? Why would they actually do something like that and actually make them, save themselves from looking, in my opinion, ridiculous? Where it's like, dude, I reacted to the Xbox showcase last year and I was like, that was great. Like, props to Xbox. They had like probably the best show they ever did. These people, they only want one thing. They only want one thing. And that is, they want people like me or any other PlayStation player out there or somebody who prefers PlayStations, they want them to fight with them. You know, they want it to be like, no, you're wrong. PlayStation is better. And it's like, I'm not here to tell you what's better for you. Why would I do that? Only an arrogant ass does that. Only a pompous asshole does stuff like that. But yet, that's what these people do. That's what they do. I guess that's what they'll always do. But yeah, I guess that ends that tangent for now anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I ended up having to like just kind of chill out for the rest of the evening and lay down. I'm telling you, man, it's something I ate that had MSG in it. I think I'm becoming like hype. Truly, dude, that day I had 2 ramens. I had to go to my in-laws. I was so messed up. I was so messed up. I had to like go home early. Because it's just I was like, oh my god, I feel like I poisoned myself. But YouTube is rife with toxic and cringe content. Xbox channels. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess it's just become the popular thing to do. But, you know, what I will say though, what I will say is that Microsoft they spent a lot of money, dude. Microsoft spent a lot of money over the last 6-7 years to finally get to this position where the investment looks like it's going to start. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's in the beginning phases of if they can continue the way they're going, it could start to pay off. It could start to pay off because if you look at the lineup of games that Microsoft has coming out as a publisher for like the first half of this year, it's like, yeah, dude, they're going to be making a lot of money. They're going to be making a lot of money and mission accomplished. And so I feel like yesterday's Xbox event, the developer direct, knowing that 4 out of the 5 games were PlayStation, it seems to me that this is the first real signal of what we can begin to expect going forward. Where like, yes, when we put on a show like this, if you're playing on PlayStation, if you're playing on Switch, you're going to want to tune in. Because there's going to be, like, these games are going to be for you too. And that's what was cool to see yesterday, man, is a lot of people were super stoked about Doom. And that Doom gameplay, like I said, it looked really fun. It did. It looked really fun. And it wasn't, like, shocking because we've seen a little bit of it already and we kind of knew what to expect. But it did look good. And it's like, wow, man, it's pretty cool. Like, it could have been a different way. It could have been Microsoft could have made sure, hey, we're not releasing this game on PlayStation. They could have made it exclusive, but they didn't. And so that's cool. And now people who I saw, like, there were people yesterday who are already pre-ordering the collector's edition for PS5, which has a pretty badass looking statue that comes with it. People dude, the hype for Ninja Gaiden 4 was crazy. And I feel a little bit sad that I'm not able to share in that because I've never really played Ninja Gaiden. I've talked about it with people before, like they've talked to me about it, but I never got around to actually playing it. It's not a game that I have any experience with. And so when I saw it yesterday, I thought it looked pretty cool. But if I'm not mistaken, aren't the Ninja Gaiden games known to be extremely difficult? I mean, like next level difficult, where they are like, they kind of torture people a little bit. Play Ninja Gaiden Black 2. It's amazing. I'll think about it. It looks good. I mean, Ninja Gaiden was Dark Souls before Dark Souls. You can say they pioneered the Souls games. That's interesting. They have difficulty now, though. Huh. I guess some people don't like that. I appreciate that. Hey, Tarnished. These corporations openly work together and are partners, while a small, deeply cringe percentage of their customers argue online about issues that matter to no one, especially the companies they are cheering on. Yeah. You're saying Ninja Gaiden Black 2 is awesome. You're playing on normal mode and it's not bad. Even easy mode is challenging. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about this. I mean, Ninja Gaiden 4, the trailer that they showed yesterday and the gameplay they showed, it looks really good. I played Rise of the Ronin from Team Ninja, and I enjoyed it. I thought the combat was really fun. The only easy Ninja Gaiden was the original re-release of the first Ninja Gaiden Black. You're saying Team Ninja is S tier at combat? I mean, yeah, that was like the thing that really hooked me in the most with Rise of the Ronin. They had so many different weapons, they had so many different stances, and it was a bit much at first. I'll admit, like there was a lot there that I was like, oh man, this is a bit much. But once I learned it and I got familiar with it, I'm like, man, once it all comes together, I'm like, yeah, this feels really good. It does get addictive, yeah. Yeah, what's up, Michael? Oh my God. Chris, you're saying I never considered a Halo PlayStation bundle. Dude, you know what's so weird to me? Because you mentioned that. I could only imagine if there was a Halo PlayStation bundle. I don't think there would be. But just to continue my rant a little bit here is what is wrong with these people that are like, oh, I guess you guys like Xbox games now. Xbox is saving PlayStation. Like, what is up with the toxicity, bro? Like, you guys have been spending years crying, just absolutely crying about how amazing these games are. And now, like, a massive audience, potentially a massive audience, is going to be exposed to these games. And rather than being excited about it, and rather than like hyping that up and being like, this is awesome, wait until you guys experience this. To be fair, I've seen a lot of people saying that, but I've seen so many people with this toxic ass attitude where it's like, you're going to focus on the fact that people didn't want to go out and buy Xboxes to play these games because they already bought a PlayStation or whatever. Like, that's what you're going to focus on rather than just the fact that, dude, and it kind of speaks to what OK is saying here, where it's like, yeah, dude, Microsoft doesn't give a shit. Like, do you think that's the attitude Microsoft has where they're like, yeah, you guys like the game now, don't you? Like, no, they're like, we hope you like this game. We hope you love this game. Please buy this game and please buy every game after. Microsoft is stoked, dude. That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy to me. Xbox is going to make billions selling games on PlayStation. It's good for both companies. I mean, yeah, dude, like, I can't wait for the next thing where the people who are always like, why do you care about PlayStation sales? Why are you talking about numbers? Why are you talking about sales? I can't wait when Microsoft eventually makes more money than Sony does, and that's the thing that they start bragging about. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait for that next. You can't make it up, dude. You can't make it up. How much money can we make with Halo on PlayStation? Holy shit, ship it. I mean, look, man, if Master Chief Collection does come to PlayStation, I think they're going to sell it at full price. Dude, come on. Yeah, they're going to, how could they not sell it at full price? Easy money. Easy money. And you know what? People would be fine with paying full price. I'm not saying everybody will be, but anybody who wants to play Halo on PlayStation, they'll pay full price. I mean, we could say $60 full price. Maybe not. I don't know if they would go full 70, but at least $60. And that's a great value, in my opinion. Like, dude, you're talking about the entire Halo collection, right? Except for Infinite. The entire Halo collection. And wait, it's maybe 5 as well. But pretty much all the main Halo games, Halo Reach, probably going to be PS5 Pro Enhanced if they're actually bringing it to PlayStation. For, if you're somebody who's never played these games before, that's a great deal, dude. For $60, you get all them. Yeah. Yeah, I think that Microsoft is going to make a killing. And again, Sony's going to get a 30% rip on every copy sold that they were originally never going to get. So it's a win-win, dude. Like the real winners here are the corporations at the end of the day. Or the people who are just excited to play games. We have a direct donation here from Moonshot once again. Thank you, Moonshot. He says, oh, they don't ignore it when Sony does it. They just recognize it as slimy Sony money hat deals. Remember the conspiracy of the secret Wukong deal? Yeah, well, the reason why they do that, Moonshot, because you're right. The reason why they do that is because it's not releasing on Xbox. Sony is paying money to take a game and make sure it doesn't release on Xbox. It's better when Microsoft does it, like what they're doing with Ninja Gaiden 4, because they'll say you can release it on PS5. But the reality is the development team would not take Microsoft's deal if it was contingent on you have to release it on Xbox only. They would say no, thank you. See, that's the irony here is like people like to pretend that Microsoft didn't try to do timed exclusivity deals themselves or third-party exclusivity deals. They absolutely did. And anybody who's trying to rewrite history or ignore that history is losing sight of the bigger picture that I always try to highlight to people, which is Microsoft is a corporation just like Sony is. They're both corporations. They're not doing anything to help you. They're trying to make money from you, and they have to work within the confines of the position that they're in. Like Microsoft couldn't get third-party deals without paying an unbelievable amount of money because they don't have any leverage. Microsoft couldn't approach developers and say, hey, we have 80 million, 90 million install base, or we're going to have that. See, look at the charts. We're going to have that. And so here's how many units you can expect to sell. This is how much we're willing to pay for exclusivity. They can't do that. They money hat for Game Pass. Yeah, that's true too. And that's fine. That works out. That's not taking anything away from PlayStation. And that's what they've had to pivot to because, well, why else wouldn't they? Like, what else would they pivot to other than Game Pass? They have to money hat for Game Pass because, well, that's what they're trying to grow. Just like they would still money hat for console if that's what they were trying to grow. But the truth is, man, Sony, and I've never denied this fact, Sony wanted to kill Xbox, bro. Just like Xbox wanted to kill Sony. That was the name of the game. That was the name of the game. And the game changed because Microsoft left the game and started playing by their own rules, which is, yeah, we're going to make major publisher acquisitions and we're not really going to focus on the console anymore. You're saying Xbox never wanted to kill Sony? That's not true. That's not true at all. I mean, you're talking about two companies that were fighting for the same market. And to be fair, like, that's business, bro. That's not, yeah, it's just business. That's not exclusive to just the gaming industry. Any market, any business, these companies are trying to take each other out. That's the truth. They're just trying to take each other out. But now things have changed. We're like, yeah, there's Sony and Microsoft, they're basically partners at this point. They're basically partners. King Sam with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Says, after what Microsoft did to Tango, I thought I could never forgive them. However, Tango's alive with Hi-Fi Rush 2 in development, and I'm learning that Microsoft pushed for Ninja Gaiden 4 to become a reality. Forgiveness arc. Absolutely, man. Yeah, and that's the whole thing, too, is like Microsoft publishing Ninja Gaiden 4 isn't a bad thing. And what's even more interesting is that Platinum Games is co-developing it. And man, you think back to the whole Scalebound situation with Platinum Games, right? And Microsoft. It seems like Microsoft and Platinum are on their forgiveness arc as well. So this isn't a bad thing, man. I think at the end of the day, Xbox players are always going to have, not all Xbox players, but some. I think some Xbox players are going to have a chip on their shoulder because Sony is not reciprocating, man. They're just not. At least not yet. And it seems like they're not going to. I understand from the position of, like, let's say a really loyal or entrenched Xbox player, you hear Microsoft basically saying, like, yeah, we're going to start bringing all this stuff over to PlayStation. And then, the next natural question is going to be, okay, so what do we get from PlayStation? Oh, you're not going to get anything. Maybe you get Death Stranding. But that's really from Kojima. So, MLB, you get MLB. But in reality, it's like, that's not the same, though. Like, that's not the same. But Microsoft, see, this is the ace up Microsoft's sleeve. And this is where, this is why I don't understand the consternation where it's like the ace up Microsoft's sleeve is they turn to the fans and they say, but it's okay. Check out this Game Pass deal we got for you. You can't get that on PlayStation or Nintendo. So it cancels each other out. Microsoft gets to put their games wherever they want, gets to put their games on PlayStation, make the money from PlayStation, make the money from Switch, and they also get to put their games in the Game Pass, so that way when the fan base asks, hey, what gives? How come you're giving away games, but we're not getting any return? Hey, it's okay. We're giving you games in Game Pass. It's like, oh, all right. So again, it's like, who is losing here? That's what I need to know, man. Who is losing? I don't think anybody's losing, man. I mean, maybe, I guess you could say the Xbox console, but they already they lost a while ago. Like, the console business side of it for Xbox was, I think it was in the dirt and in the ground basically like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, I think 2 years ago is basically just the beginning of acknowledging that, okay, I don't, like, once you started to see the PS5 run away and the Switch totally running away and Xbox is just nowhere, near it, I think people started to kind of accept that, oh, okay. And that's when you started to see the shift. And it's like, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you could say that Microsoft lost the console war, but then people will say, well, that doesn't matter. And it's like, yeah, right now it really doesn't matter. We'll see how it matters in the future, competition-wise, but right now it doesn't matter. You'd love to see them bring Scalebound back. Trailer looked good. Scalebound did look really good. Yeah. It's a shame that game never got to see the light of day. Dude, I remember I was covering Xbox at the time, and I was so pissed off at that. Man. Yeah, guys, do me a favor. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that like button to help the stream out. I'd really appreciate it. Tarnished, you're saying nobody's losing from what I can see. The fellas in suits are laughing to the bank, and we are getting games. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the whole Scalebound situation, that was a weird one because there were rumors that, like, Platinum Games was spending the money that Microsoft gave them on stuff outside of Scalebound, which was like, I don't know if there's truth to that, but yeah, that's not good. I could see why Microsoft would be very pissed off. But either way, it kind of falls on Microsoft because they ended up having to cancel it. Let's wait and see how well these games sell on PlayStation first. No? I mean, yeah. There's no guarantee that these games are going to sell super well, but I mean, dude, Doom, I think, is going to sell pretty well on PlayStation 5. Ninja Gaiden 4, we'll see. I don't know what the demand for Ninja Gaiden 4 is. I mean, based off of what I was seeing in the chat and the amount of views it's getting and just the excitement, it seems like it has the potential to sell pretty well. I mean, we do know that Sea of Thieves sold very well on PlayStation. And you know what's weird, too? As I'm going to continue my string of complaints here. What's weird, too, is like, what's up with the people who are like, why, dude, I swear to God, if there's one thing I see that I really don't quite understand anymore, I never understood it, but it's like you have to be, there's something wrong with you. What I'm talking about are the people that are still like, either A, why are you still talking about Xbox? Or B, it's like, yeah, without Xbox, you wouldn't have anything to talk about. Like, bro, what are you talking about? Literally, the things that Xbox are doing involve PlayStation. It's like, holy shit. How stupid can you be? The answer is incredibly stupid. Unbelievably, unfathomably stupid. Like, what are you talking about? This would be like the equivalent if Sony just held a state of play and 9 out of 10 games at that state of play were also coming to Xbox and going to be enhanced for their premium console. And then I turn to Xbox players and say, why are you talking about it? Yeah, I guess PlayStation's giving you all your content, huh? It's like, dude, yeah, they're literally bringing this stuff over. They're literally asking us to play it and to acknowledge it and to talk about it. Like, what are you like, are you an idiot? That's what's crazy, man. That's what's crazy to me. Is like, I still see that, man. I still see, it's like, here's a game that Microsoft is showing in their developer direct, and they want to sell you on this game. They want you to buy this game. They want you to be excited for this game. This game is also going to be coming to PS5, and it's going to be enhanced for the PS5 Pro. And it's like, there's a subsection of Xbox fans out there that are like, hey, you PlayStation players, you better not talk about it. Because if you do, then you love Xbox. Yeah, that's right. Xbox, you're saying Xbox is better than PlayStation. You're confirming that PlayStation has nothing. Actually, you know what? We get Doom, and we get Ghost of Yotei, and we get Death Stranding 2. You know what I mean? It's like, is the implication that if you're talking about Doom or you're talking about any of these Xbox games maybe coming to PlayStation, then you don't have any games. It's like, how about I talk about Doom and I talk about Ghost of Yotei and I talk about Wolverine? How about I do that? You could do that too if you have a PlayStation. Like, I just don't understand the mentality. I don't understand it, man. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense, and nobody seems to care if it makes any sense or not. Hello, boss. Perfect Image, you're saying, are people stupid? Team Ninja did Rise of the Ronin because their next game is from Xbox. Now Xbox want to cry. I don't get it now. I'm adding Rich Rod. Sorry for the rant. Oh, you're channeling your inner Rich Rod? Boss is upset too. He's like, I gotta bite this. Again. I don't know, man. I know I'm going on like a crazy rant here, but it's just the lunacy that I've seen. The level of, how do I put this? I'll just keep it simple. The level of stupidity that I've been seeing the last 12 hours or so is just nothing short of mind-boggling, dude. Where it's like, I don't even, like, I'm just at a loss. It's like, yeah, man. Yeah, PlayStation has no games, bro. We need Xbox to save us. I mean, I don't know how you come to that conclusion. Xbox is literally selling their games on PlayStation because they can't get enough sales on their own platform. But yup, PlayStation needs Xbox in their games. and people who are covering games, we wouldn't be able to talk about anything else if it wasn't for Xbox bringing their games to PlayStation. Let's not acknowledge that it's a big deal that Xbox, who is saying any of this? A lot of people are, dude. A lot of people are. I see it in my comments. Saw it all on my stream. See, I mean, it's most prevalent on Twitter. Surprise, surprise. But it's just like, this is how you are after every Xbox event these days. Because can you blame me, dude? They just do nothing but gaslight. I'm not expecting them to do anything other than just not say anything. Like, they just do gaslight. That's all they do. They do gaslight. I don't know why I said it like that. They do gaslight. What happened to the stream? It's for members. If you're a channel member, you can still watch it. Stay off Twitter, man. It's a diabolical hellscape. Come on, bro. You got it. But it is frustrating, man, because it's just... I'm trying to imagine, like, if you're an Xbox content creator, right, and you watch a PlayStation show, and it was a good PlayStation show, and you're like, bro, come on. It's not time for treats yet. You watch that show, and they're like, yeah, that was a pretty good PlayStation show, or whatever, or they're talking about some of the games that PlayStation showed that they're excited to play, and then, like, you get certain PlayStation fanboys, which I'm sure they exist. I'm sure they're out there, for sure. And they're like, LOL, see, Xbox has no games, and that's why you're excited for these PlayStation games. And I'm like, dude, this shit is just cancerous, where it's like, what are we doing? What are we, like, really, what are we doing? Bro, all right, fine, boss. I'll give you a couple treats. Come on. Boss is like, look, I know what I'm doing. I'm getting treats. I'll give you some. Just a few. Say, yeah, boss is like, feed me. I don't know, man. It's just I didn't expect this to be this toxic. I have to be honest with you. Like, I knew there would be some level of toxicity, but I'm like, it's over, man. Like, it's over. There's nothing to dunk on anymore. It's like there's PlayStation, where you can get a console and you can play games on the console. There's PC, where you can have a little bit of everything, and you can customize how powerful your hardware is. There's Xbox, which is Game Pass and a lot of games on Game Pass. And then there's Switch, where you get you get Nintendo exclusives, and I guess, as we'll see, third-party games. And I'm just like, where is this level of toxicity coming from? And I'll tell you what I think it is, man. I'll be honest. I think it's because there's certain people where, like, they don't know what to do now that Xbox it's happened, man. Like, they've moved on from the console, and they're a publisher. I don't understand. I just don't get it, man. I just don't get why there's just so much toxicity, when it's like, people would have you believe that I was the one yesterday. That I watched that Xbox Developer Direct, and I turned to the camera and I said, that was bad. What a joke. Those games suck, and Xbox sucks. That's what they want. That's what they would have you believe. And they are behaving as if I, as well as other people, that's what people said. Dude, nobody's saying that. Nobody. Even I see some of the most rabid PlayStation fans in my chat. I didn't see anybody in my chat saying that. The worst I saw people saying were, I'm not really interested in what they showed. That was the worst. That was the worst I saw. I did not see people shitting on Xbox, shitting on that show, and it just goes to show this is what these people do. They make shit up, dude. They literally make shit up. Either that or there's shit being said. I'm sure this is true. There's shit being said about Xbox in places that I'm not looking, which I would imagine that's true. Everyone is signing up to Game Pass after the show. You think so? When's Microsoft going to reveal the numbers? Maybe they will at their earnings. Their earnings are coming up, so you might be right. We're going to see. But it's just like, thank you. I appreciate that. You're saying I was one of the most fair PlayStation YouTubers yesterday and you're Xbox PC centric. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I'm glad some people see it. Where it's like, I'm not going out of my way to be any specific thing here. It's just always weird when you see people accusing you of something that's just not true. It's frustrating. You know, imagine every day you get people walking in and they're like, you're this and you're that. And it's like, or you're doing this and you're doing that. It's like, I'm literally not. What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, you are. And then they bring over like 3 more people and are like, see what he's doing? And they're all like, yeah, why are you doing that? And I'm like, what am I doing? I don't get it. Their intention becomes obvious. The reactions have been overwhelmingly positive. Well, listen, man, when Microsoft does their earnings, it's going to be really interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what their numbers look like, because I do wonder if they're going to mention Game Pass numbers. They haven't done so in a long time. And I could see a show like that convincing more people to sub for sure, or at least re-up their subscription if they haven't. But yeah, I don't know, man. It just loses its fun factor, man. That's all. It loses its fun factor when it's like, people, I think, they're losing sight of just what it means to enjoy video games anymore. And I don't know. I guess it makes sense to a degree. Because I guess to an extent, it's always kind of been like that for groups of people. But anyway, circling back around, there are multiple games that were announced yesterday. Doom, Claire Obscure. I forget the entire name of that game, which actually looks pretty decent. And Ninja Gaiden 4, as well as Ninja Gaiden 2 Remake. These are all games that were announced for PlayStation yesterday, or the release dates were announced, and PS5 Pro enhancement is going to be there. So all in all, if you saw any of those games and you were looking forward to them and you play on PlayStation, you know, something to look forward to. South of Midnight, yeah. I don't know how Xbox players are feeling about South of Midnight. I'm assuming some of them are looking forward to. I mean, I don't know. South of Midnight doesn't look bad to me. I'm not. There's nothing about that game that makes me feel like I want to jump and play it. It doesn't look bad. It's Compulsion Games, I think. I think they've proven to be pretty decent developers. But yeah, not my cup of tea. ATMA, you think it looks solid? I did see some people saying they think it looks really good. There does seem to be some interest in it, certainly. But I think they said that's coming out in April, right? So that's just a couple months away. Unico, you're saying South looked underwhelming compared to the rest shown, but you're hyped for it. Wait, video games are for enjoying, not just rage and toxicity? Unfortunately, for some, yes. I don't know if South of Midnight's ever going to come to PlayStation. As of right now, it's only Xbox, but we'll see. Am I playing Ninja Gaiden Black 2? As of right now, I'm not. No. Not right now. I don't know. I'm hearing some mixed things about it. Like I'm hearing some people say it's good, but I'm also hearing some people say it feels kind of strange. Like something's up with it. I don't know. I haven't looked too deeply into it. You're saying Xbox censored Ninja Gaiden 2 Black? Hmm. Feels a little odd, or like it feels like an old title. Camera seems a bit off, but it's good. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it's a game I'm gonna play because I'm not. I mean, I guess it is on a Game Pass right now, so I'm sure anybody who's subscribed to Game Pass is probably giving it a shot. But I'm thinking if I'm going to play Ninja Gaiden, if I'm going to, I'd probably just wait till like Ninja Gaiden 4 comes out. Oh, jeez, excuse me. You think they probably changed the engine? I think I did see people mentioning that. They were saying like something like they lost the original source code or something. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but it's interesting to think. It's on UE5 now. Okay. Yeah, I could imagine how losing the source code and having to completely switch to a new engine, I could imagine how that would make it feel slightly different in some ways. But it did look cool though. Very bloody. You're saying it's 80 gigabytes, but you're not sure where that's going. Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 was the one that was censored, and it was the PlayStation version. Always with the censorship. All right, well, let's move on to a new set of topics. We do have some sales data to go over to keep you guys up to date and in the loop with what's going on. Circana's annual sales report for December 2024 came out, and a couple of interesting things we're learning. So, the month's top selling console was the PS5, but it was down 18% year over year. The Nintendo Switch and Xbox consoles were down 38% year over year. In terms of pure dollar sales generated, the PS5 is now ranked third on the all-time USA sales list. Helldivers 2 took the number 3 spot for best-selling games of 2024. Both MLB The Show 24 and Marvel Spider-Man 2 charted, and the best-selling accessory was the PlayStation Portal, which came out ahead of the DualSense Edge. What's even more interesting, though, when we talk about this data, and to me this is the most interesting part, is Matt Piscatella, the person who's like the head of Circana and reveals this data, said that through the PS5's first 50 months in the U.S. market, life to date, ending December 2024, PS5 lifetime unit sales are 7% ahead of the PS4's pace. This, to me, might be the most significant piece of data we're getting because, again, man, it's just what people are saying on the internet in certain spaces versus what is actually occurring in the real life world we live in are just two completely different things. People are still buying PS5s, bro. Like, they're, in fact, in the US, like, I gotta be honest, I'm shocked the PS5 is, even if it's only by 7%, I'm shocked the PS5 is outpacing the PS4. That's crazy, dude. Like, not only is the PS5 more expensive, but it genuinely has like less exclusive games by this point, I think, or at least less announced for it. And it's just I think it just tells you something, right? What it reveals something. It reveals that, like, regardless of the way certain people talk about the PlayStation platform and the way they talk about the console or whatever Sony's doing. Like, dude, they're doing very well. They're still doing very well, man. It just proves that a lot of people don't talk about subscription and just prefer to buy games. Yo Peeps with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, buddy. Says, Showcase was solid. I just like playing my games on physical. That's why I don't care for Xbox, the DRM. Yeah, man. I mean, that's a big thing for me. You know, truly. I'm getting really nervous about the direction that physical media is going in. It's not looking too good. You know, it seems to be on a rapid decline, at least from the things that I'm seeing. And I feel the same way. Like, when the day comes where PlayStation is announcing games, third-party games, first-party games, doesn't matter. And it's just like, yeah, the more common thing is there's no physical version. Well, no, physical isn't dead, Chris. That's not true. Because to me, physical is dead when I can't buy these games physically anymore. That's what I'm speaking to here. Is like when the day comes where PlayStation is holding these state of plays or showcases where I'm seeing third-party publishers reveal games for PS5, and they're like, yeah, there's just no physical version, and there won't be any. And that becomes like something that happens 70% of the time, 60% of the time, or even 50% of the time. I'm gonna be pretty annoyed by that, and that's gonna alter my view of how I choose to go about spending money on my content, because to me, I know there is a difference between buying a video game digitally and playing a video game through a subscription. There is a difference. I'm not saying there isn't. But when you remove physical games from the equation, to me, that difference looks a lot like they are two different things, but there's still a lot of similarities. Like they're too similar than I would like them to be. And so it does, in a way, it kind of moves me closer to something akin to a subscription, because I don't know, man. I'm not trying to build a digital games library if I don't have to. I don't want to have to. I would just like the option to buy these games physically. That's all. I hope that remains a thing for the foreseeable future. But I mean, things are getting spooky, because even though I'm talking about PlayStation 5 sales, another piece of data that came out is that digital PS5s comprised of 45% of all PS5 units sold in 2024. Nearly 50% of all PS5 units sold for the year of 2024 were digital. That doesn't make me feel very good. You will not own anything and be happy. Yeah. Does a PS5 Pro count as digital? I would assume it does. Yeah. Maybe that boosted those numbers a little bit because there was no choice. But I would assume that, yeah, that's counted. But we're talking about the entirety of 2024, man. You're talking about tens of millions of units. So a lot of digital PS5s were purchased, man. No physical, another reason to go PC. I mean, yeah. Yeah, for real, honestly. I'm not saying that that's what I would do, but that's where it's like, I wonder if Sony knows, like, this very well could be keeping certain people on your platform. Like, this matters to a certain percentage of people. It might be a small percentage, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Sony starts getting more and more comfortable with PC, and then they remove physical. It might start getting people thinking, like, maybe I will just go to PC. You got rid of those empty, dusty boxes and don't regret it? Damn. Well, that's one way to look at moving on to digital only. I mean, if things were digital only, I wouldn't stop playing video games. But, man, my view of ownership in gaming and how I should spend my money in gaming changes. Like, I don't know. It's why I talk about, like, oh, yeah, maybe I'll subscribe to Game Pass. But then I'm like, but if I want to play Doom, I really think I'd rather buy the PS5 box version. There's something about that really matters to me. It's tangible. It's part of the experience. And I don't want to give that up if I don't have to. But it starts to feel more and more like we're inching towards that future quicker and quicker. MBG, do you think it's Microsoft killing a physical due to Game Pass effect where studios don't need a disc? I mean, I think the reason why Microsoft is pretty much done with physical, from what I can tell, it seems like they are anyway, is because, yeah, I think that their console sales are tanking and they probably are gaining some Game Pass subscribers. And Game Pass is a whole nother level where when you are on a subscription, you're not even, you're just literally renting the games for as long as you're subscribed. And the moment you're unsubscribed, those games are gone. You don't have access to them. Your access is revoked. I mean, at least when you buy a game digitally, you still technically don't own it. You own a license to use it, but still the idea is in the next 10 to 15 to 20 to 25, 30, pretty much perpetually, right? Unless something major or cataclysmic happens, you're going to be able to play that game digitally, you know? So it is like ownership in that way. But those are two different things. That is the difference I was describing. But it really sucks to see, man. Do you know that Vantiva is the largest manufacturer of optical discs? Sony's the second, and they are selling their whole disc division. No, I didn't know that. See, that's what I mean, dude. That's what I mean. Like, that sucks. I should have said, does it accelerate the killing of physical media? I think it does, yeah. But I think that's because anybody who's engaged on the Xbox ecosystem, I mean, I don't think there's anybody. Like, there might be some people, but I'm not sure how many at all. I don't think there's really anybody on the Xbox side that still cares about collecting physical. Sony is stopping the production of certain Blu-rays. I saw that. Yeah. It's sad to see that. Listen, I think at this point, the most I request or the most I hope for, and I feel like this is reasonable, is when the PlayStation 6 rolls around, Sony, please just commit to one more generation of supporting physical games. Because I understand that, like, we're going to get to a point eventually where it's just over and everything is digital. I get that. But can we just get one more solid gen? I'm not saying I'm going to quit gaming after that, but just one more. You know, just one more. I would prefer it to be forever, but nothing lasts forever. MBG just read that Sony's winding down Blu-ray and still thinks physical isn't dead. I think it's dying. I don't think it's dead. I think there is a difference. In 30 years' time, you will look at the PlayStation 5 like you do the Nintendo NES today. Probably. Kazjam with a $5 super chat says, my nephew got my PlayStation account banned. I can't play any of my digital games anymore. I'm thinking about going strictly PC. Dude, that really sucks that it was your nephew that got it banned. Because that wasn't even your fault. Yeah, that's pretty. That's what I mean, dude. Like, that to me is such a shitty aspect of buying games digitally. Is that, like, one of the things you agree to is Sony or whoever, not just Sony, but Microsoft, Valve, anybody. If you breach any of the terms that you agreed to, they denied your appeal. Wow, what did he do? That must have been pretty bad. Yeah, they can. You agree to that when you sign up for the network, right? That they can take your games at any time, and that sucks. Like, I mean, that's like bullshit. You buy physical games, they can't take that. They can't come in. They're not going to come into your home and confiscate your games. But I mean, yeah, you do have to break the contract. You know, you have to breach the terms of service. So there is that factor. But like what you're describing here, I mean, this is a particularly shitty situation because that's not your fault. Your nephew was the one who ended up doing that, not you. But you have to pay for it. I'd be so pissed, man, at your nephew. But yeah, I hope we can get one more solid generation of physical games because I don't know, man. Once we go all digital, I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna quit gaming. You guys think he's lying? Cash Jam's like, yeah, my nephew got me banned. It was definitely my nephew, not me. King Sam, you're saying I played Witcher 1 on my laptop and once installed it, no longer needed the disc to be played. Is that why physical PC games went away? I mean, dude, physical PC games I feel like went away really quickly. Yeah, the PC market I think was just very much accepting. They're just like open arms with digital. It's been that way for a long time. It's a good point, though, MBG. This could be the future for everybody. Say something a big corporation doesn't like, and goodbye to your digital library. Yeah, there's definitely some slippery slopes here, but I guess the idea is there's still going to be competition between digital storefronts, right? And so as long as that competition exists, it's kind of like what Kazjam is saying here, where it's like, if Sony takes away all my games for something I did that I guess, would warrant that happening and they reject your appeal for whatever reason, yeah, I mean, then Steam likely gains a new customer or even Xbox. But when it comes to the PlayStation sales data that we were talking about, I just thought it was worth covering briefly here because it's like, people think that PlayStation is struggling and PlayStation's not struggling. It's just that PlayStation is trying to plan for future growth. And one of the ways they did that was with live service and they messed that up. But outside of that, I mean, the reality of the situation is PlayStation's doing just fine. They're going to be doing even better once, once they start getting even more games from Microsoft. And I just think this is important to understand because we need to, as enthusiast fans, or for those of us who care enough about PlayStation, we need to have a better understanding of like, why are they making some of the decisions they're making? Why does Sony do this? Why do they do that? Why are they not doing this? Why are they not doing that? And it's just like, well, I don't know, man. They're selling consoles at a rate faster than they were selling the PS4 in the US. The PS5 is, I don't know, it's just, it seems like it's going to just do perfectly fine regardless of anything else that happens this generation. Downside to physical is it will only ever work on that specific hardware. Now, what if you can no longer access that specific hardware due to some sign-in requirement on a dead storefront or server? I mean, I guess that's true to a degree, but like at the rate things are going, I don't know, man. You could maybe make the argument that physical PS4 games should be playable on every piece of hardware going forward. Yeah, I mean, like backwards. I understand what you're saying to a degree because we have seen this happen mainly with the PS3 generation, but I think the PS3 generation was just kind of like a one-off kind of messed up situation where like that's not going to happen again. That's not going to happen again. if this gen ends, we'll have a few amazing exclusives at the end. I think the hype for PS6 will be there. MBG, did you know that Final Fantasy sales on PC are poor because of the PS5 Pro, apparently? People just blatantly lie all day on X. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just kind of tired of trying to convince people of things. Like we were saying earlier, like some of you guys were telling me earlier, that there's, just people are not going to listen, and that's fine. They don't have to, but the numbers don't lie. And the numbers are once again letting us know that PlayStation's doing great, man. Doesn't mean that they'll always do great, but for now, the PS5 is still selling extremely well. In the US, it's still pacing ahead of the PS4. Sony's games are still doing pretty well overall. I'm curious to see how Sony navigates the upcoming year, how this may or may not change. I think GTA 6 is probably going to do a lot of heavy lifting for the PS5, so I don't think they have much to worry about. But yeah. Yeah, I know, Titus. I don't know what they're going to do. I'll be honest, I'm prepared for the worst. I hate to say it, but I guess it's not the worst, but the second worst. The second worst thing is I'm prepared to find out that Blue Point's going to be they're going to be relegated to a support studio, which would be so shitty, but they did support work on God of War Ragnarok for 2 years. So, I could understand why Sony might look at that and be like, maybe that's what we're going to have them do. That would suck. Yeah, I would have a struggle accepting that. Josh Z, thank you for the super chat, buddy. You're saying I don't really care that digital is basically a license because if I haven't played by the time it gets removed, then I was never going to play it. By the time it gets removed, I was never going to play it. I mean, yeah, it's funny. It's funny to think that, like, from the most simplistic perspective, I guess that does make sense, because the idea is when you buy a game, whether it be digitally or physically, and you play it and you beat it, do you have any plans of going back to it? I think for a lot of people, it's just the notion of, like, it's having that kind of comfort of knowing if I ever do want to go back to it, it's there. You know what I mean? It's there. But at the same time, I think a reality for a lot of people is they play games one time and then they never touch them again. I do think that's the reality for a lot of people. Although I guess what's a little bit confusing about the super chat, Josh, is, yeah, I mean, that's not an uncommon thing. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I guess it depends. I know on Steam, it is not uncommon to buy games and not play them. It's not uncommon. I see it all the time. I mean, a lot of times people buy these games on sale. Like, I don't think anybody would pay $70 for a game digitally and then not play it. That would be kind of crazy. But if you're buying a $5 game, $6 game on sale, just because you can't pass up that deal and you want to add it to your library, it's true. People do that all the time during sales and they just, like, never play the game. I personally don't do that, but I kind of understand what you mean. Like, if it were to get removed, it'd be like, oh, well, yeah, I wasn't going to play that anyway. I just bought it when it was on sale and kind of forgot it was there. But yeah, I mean, I guess that would still, at the end of the day, it would still kind of suck, you know? Sometimes you just forget about it. I mean, I feel like that's a common thing, dude. Like not super common, but more common than you would think. Titus with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Saying Sony feels bad this generation. I have almost 700 PS digital games, but I know Sony has no love for me. I'm just a wallet. We all are. I miss old Sony. I know, dude. I've been saying for a while now that Sony really, really could use some more fanfare. Truly. They really could. I think a lot of people are going to still play on PlayStation no matter what. But it really does suck that Sony, when it comes to the way that they would approach talking to fans and any type of fanfare, not even just last generation, but generally speaking, like it feels like the PS5 has been the first generation where they really just it's purely business. It's just strictly business, and we're going to talk to you when we need to talk to you, and when we're not, we're out, and that's it. And, you know, I've been covering these recent interviews with Herman Hulst and Hideaki Nishino. We got like 2 interviews in the past like 6 months, and it's just, it's like, why are you guys even talking? I mean, like literally, you're not saying anything. You may as well be robots, you know? It does suck. That does suck. And it goes to show that, like, from the perspective of an enthusiast or a fan, it feels like Sony is not listening. I think Sony is listening, or at least they're trying to listen, but I think they're just doing so while being silent. I think that Sony absolutely sees that people, I think they get the message, you know what I mean? Like, they get the message that people want to see them bring back maybe some classic games, or at the very least not continue making as many live service games. It's hard to say. It's hard to say, man. I think when we look at the 30th anniversary stuff that PlayStation did this year, that to me was like the closest I've seen like modern Sony get to like, oh, it feels like they're actually trying to create a direct communication with the fans. And that was the closest I've seen them get in literally years. And it was nice. It was really nice. But I don't know, man. I don't know if they're ever going to go back to that. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. We have to see how they approach, I think, the end of this generation, or like the next 2 to 3 years. See if anything really changes. And we have Castaway coming in, becoming a channel member. Castaway, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that support. Make sure you go check out the Morning with the Misses that we did today. Guys, again, if you haven't, please consider becoming a channel member. If not becoming a channel member, consider gifting channel memberships. We've been doing members lounges. We're doing Morning with the Misses. And you get to support the channel directly. So Castaway, thank you for that, buddy. I don't necessarily feel like the way Sony is doing things is the worst approach. It's just that, like, it makes sense. It makes sense why Sony's going to want to approach their business this way. But I feel like they need to, like, have at least some room. It doesn't have to be the same exact way it was during the PS4 gen. It really doesn't have to be that way, but it's like there has to be a few moments here and there where you're willing to be a little bit more forward, you know what I mean? And a little, give in to the fans a little bit and do a little bit more fanfare. I don't know. Hello, Leia. Chris Brown with a $2 super chat says, MBG, any thoughts on a-hole Keanu Reeves in 2077? Still haven't gotten there yet. To be honest, I have not it's been a couple days since I played Cyberpunk. I'm planning on picking up again tonight, but is he an a-hole? Well, to be honest, I kind of knew he was an a-hole because I've seen clips and stuff, but it's interesting because there was this movie I saw one time. Actually, I think it was directed by Sam Raimi. Saying that's the first 30 minutes. Not what I played. I'm like a couple hours into the game. I haven't met Keanu yet. Oh, am I doing something wrong? Now you got me worried. But there was this movie I watched one time. It was directed by Sam Raimi. I can't remember the name of the movie. It came out in like 2000 or something. And Keanu Reeves was in it. And he played not like a villain, but like an asshole. Like, I mean, a racist a-hole. And I remember watching it with Mrs. MBG and was like, this is so weird. It was like a thriller movie. Yeah, like, I think he played, I can't remember if I don't want to spoil anything, but I think he was like accused of murdering somebody. I forget the name of the movie, but it was like a thriller, and it was just so weird seeing him because it just wasn't believable, you know? It was, I mean, he was really, you could tell he was trying real hard to be like the worst type of person. And I'm like, I don't believe it. Like, you just, I'm not buying it. With Forrest Whitaker, I don't think he was in that movie. He's not a cop. I know which one you're talking about. That movie came out like 2008. I think it's called like Street Kings. That was a pretty decent movie. Now, this movie came out like right after The Matrix. And I don't think he played like the main role. He was like kind of a supporting actor in it. I don't remember much about it. I just remember that was like the main reason I watched it. But yeah, I'm curious to see what Keanu's like. Keanu plays too many characters named John/Johnny. It's true, he does. It's weird. And my name's John, so it's fascinating. Keanu Reeves does look like a John, though. John Reeves. Keanu John Reeves. There we go. Constantine. There's a second Constantine movie coming out, by the way. Yeah, they're finally doing it. But, yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to see what Sony plans to do because I still get this feeling, dude. I know that Herman Holst is the new CEO from the, PlayStation Studios business group, and Hideaki Nishino is the CEO of the platform business group. But I really feel like, truthfully, both Hideaki Nishino as well as Herman Holst and Hiroki Totoki, that's who they report to now. I feel like there's a lot of stuff they're in the process of undoing, tweaking, and rearranging behind the scenes to reposition, to kind of like steer the ship in the direction that they believe they have to go in. Okay. Stop. Cats are fighting over there. I think that this is something that's still going on behind the scenes. And I think that it might not be until maybe later this year, maybe not until 2026, or even not until 2027, until we really start to, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we do not have a real true grasp of what this new leadership looks like. Not what it looks like, but like the results it will produce, the vibe behind it. I feel like we don't know yet because we're just, we've seen the whole live service situation canceling, just canceling games. Saying a lot of people were clipping me yesterday. Just out of curiosity, Xbox King, what were they clipping? I was like as subdued as I could possibly be yesterday. Oh, okay. They were probably clipping me saying I might subscribe to Game Pass. Really though? Like, is that the clip? Why is that clippable though? Is that what was floating around? I didn't really look, to be honest. What did MBG do? What's wrong with subscribing to Game Pass? I don't know. Like, that's why I'm wondering, like, what was being clipped. Because I was abnormally subdued yesterday. You're saying okay, so for me it was for saying I might subscribe to Game Pass. You're saying Marlon was squealing. Sometimes you gotta squeal, you know. I got clipped for doing nothing. Look at his lack of a reaction. He's shell shocked. That's pretty. I'm not gonna lie. That's actually pretty funny. MBG's shell shocked. He can't believe how good that developer direct was. He's dying inside. I mean, I guess I could understand why people would clip me saying I might subscribe to Game Pass. It just feels so weird because it's like, guys, this isn't new. Like, this isn't new. Like, I have Xbox installed on my PC and I've used it. It's just weird. I don't get it. I mean, you know what? If I had to figure it out, I think they're trying to use it against maybe other PlayStation fans or fanboys or whatever. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe they think it's going to be like a situation like I'm leaving PlayStation. I'm moving over to Xbox now. I'm an Xbot. I guess it could be something like that, but they're like, why would I do that when they're bringing their games over, bro? Josh Z, thank you for the $5 super chat, buddy. You're saying PlayStation right now feels like when Dunder Mifflin had both Jim and Michael as manager. 2 leaders is really not a good idea. Oh my God, I forgot about that. That's such a crazy comparison, Josh. I totally forgot that happened in that show. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure because do you know why I think Sony did this? At least part of the reason why they did this. I think the reason why Sony was comfortable, because it's not common, to be clear. It's not common to have like 2 CEOs. It is a thing, but like I think the reason why they did this is because Sony is basically siloing things off in case one thing fails. So like if one thing fails, they don't really have to worry about the other thing going down with it. And what I mean by this is like Sony PlayStation as a platform can live without PlayStation Studios. PlayStation Studios can live without the PlayStation platform. They're 2 separate things. They obviously both are, as of right now, they're basically one thing. They have been for the past 5 generations. But the reality is when you look at the future and what could happen, right? What if our platform over time slowly begins to fail? You know, what if something goes cataclysmically wrong and our platform is just in the garbage? Well, it's a good thing we kind of siloed it off from we kind of kept a whole leadership division separate from that. That's just purely been focused on the IP and the IP growth and the studio growth. And so we could just worry about that. That's kind of like one of my reads on it, just because the future is pretty uncertain in terms of like, I mean, you see what Microsoft is doing where like they're becoming a publisher. And I mean, people do believe that that's where Sony's going to end up too. And it's like, well, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I don't know. To be honest, what's weird is Sony didn't really elaborate. They didn't elaborate. They didn't say why exactly they did this, at least not in extreme detail or enough detail for me to truly understand why they have co-CEOs. But something we were talking about recently is maybe it's just a matter of less power for one person, ultimately, you know? Maybe that was a mistake that they felt that they made with Jim Ryan, where they gave Jim Ryan ultimately too much power. I mean, maybe this is how people have been asking the question, like, how did Herman Hulst how did he get promoted? Like, wasn't he there the whole time with Jim Ryan making these decisions? Maybe Herman was against a lot of the stuff that Jim Ryan was trying to do, or maybe not against it, but just very skeptical and maybe pushing back against some of it. But it didn't matter because Herman wasn't in charge; he just had to follow orders. And maybe Sony's leadership, maybe Hiroki Totoki and others, maybe they know this, and that's why Herman didn't get fired, because they knew that he was not fully on board, but just doing what he had to do or doing what he was told to do. It's just a possible theory of mine, because it's like, I don't know, maybe that's where Sony felt like maybe it would be smart to put somebody like Herman fully in charge of the studios and the publishing side or the creative side, and not have to worry. Like, we don't have to worry about Herman messing up the PlayStation 6, essentially, or like the platform side of things. Because if you think about it, man, there's also the idea that PlayStation's gotten really, really, really big. I think that's something else we have to kind of acknowledge, is that one of the reasons why Sony probably went with two CEOs or co-CEOs is because PlayStation is massive, dude. I mean, massive. Like, there's so many different moving parts. Maybe Jim Ryan really did just retire. I've talked extensively about how maybe he messed up and they asked him to step down, but maybe he genuinely did just retire, because one of the things he said is he was tired, bro. Like, he was tired of flying everywhere and going back and forth and checking on everything. He couldn't keep up with it. Maybe that's something that Sony kind of took in, and they were like, you know what? We got to we can't put all of this on one single person, because it's just too much to manage at one time. It's too much to be in charge of. But I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with different theories here as to why they would. Yeah, I think about that too. You're like, would they really throw the man a goodbye party with his face on cookies? Yeah, I think about that too, and I'm like, they gifted him like a PS1 themed PS5 before the 30th anniversary stuff came out. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's no denying that Sony realizes he messed up, but at the same time, you're talking about 30 plus years of experience. The PS5 is, I mean, it's like we just said today, man. The PS5 is still selling incredibly well. Sony still has a lineup of games. So it's like Jim Ryan may have messed up big time with the live service thing, but was it enough to warrant Sony being like, you're out? Because keep in mind, he didn't leave immediately either. He was still there for like 3 or 4 months after he announced that he was retiring. So I don't know. It's one of these things where we might never know the truth. There's clearly a lot that has went down behind the scenes at PlayStation, and a lot we're never going to know, at least not for a long, long time. But I don't know if I feel a lack of confidence in Sony's decision to do co-CEOs. I don't know that I feel a lack of confidence yet, because it's like, well, I mean, I'm just trying to think of the worst possible thing that could happen. I'm not sure, really. I'm not sure. Because the platform and the games, the studio side, the platform itself, that is PlayStation, and PlayStation Studios do feel like two completely separate things at this point. All right, hold on, Leia. Hold on, guys. That's funny, though. I guess my question to you, Josh, would be, who's Jim and who's Michael? Who's Jim and who's Michael? All right. here. Why does Hellblade 2 Unreal Engine 5 look better than anything Sony's ever put out? I mean, it does look really good, but I don't know, man. Sony engines are the best. I mean, I think Sony's engines have proven to be very good. I don't know if it's hard to say if they're the best or not. I think we got to see the results, man, because I think the truth is we haven't seen a Sony studio that's known to put out like cutting edge graphical fidelity games like Naughty Dog or Santa Monica or even Guerrilla for that matter. Like we haven't seen them really be able to like take the time to just here's a game that really truly pushes the PS5 to its absolute limit. We're pushing our engine to the limit. We haven't seen that yet this gen. And that's probably another reason why people feel like it's been a little bit maybe not a letdown, but not quite the same. Not quite the same as what we saw during the PS4 gen, because by the end of that gen, you know, we were seeing these games come out. Like, it's still crazy to think The Last of Us Part 2 is a PS4 game. Intergalactic. Yeah, Intergalactic's going to be interesting from a graphical perspective. Very, very interesting. Because that is exactly what I just described. Intergalactic's going to be the first PS5 game from Naughty Dog using their own proprietary engine from the ground up on PS5. Curious to see. I'm curious to see, like, what improvements we will see in Intergalactic versus something like The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, Unreal Engine 5 is impressive as well. I mean, I don't think there's any denying that Hellblade 2 looks really, really good. Yeah. Hellblade 2 looks really good, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to expect because, I mean, not only have we not seen any of Sony Studios really build a game, I mean, truly like with years from the ground up for the PS5 to push it, but especially now like the PS5 Pro. I don't know. I'm just like, what's Wolverine going to look like, bro? Like, that's what I want to know. Wolverine's not going to be cross-gen. As far as we're aware, it's not going to be cross-gen. That's a game that's been in development since 2021. Like, I expect Wolverine to look fucking nuts. I expect that game to look absolutely nuts. Because Insomniac has proven they are graphical powerhouses. But everything they've done... I mean, Spider-Man 2 wasn't cross-gen either. And that looked pretty... I mean, certain aspects of Spider-Man 2 looked pretty crazy. But, I don't know. Wolverine, as far as I'm aware, is not going to be fully open world, so... It can't look any worse than the leaked video. Yeah, we can't go by that. Dude, did you see that? Oh my God, dude. This is what I'm talking about, where it's like, what is going on? I saw a tweet that went viral. A tweet that went totally viral saying new Wolverine 2025 gameplay revealed. It was literally the leaked footage from 2023. Like the not even pre-alpha, just development build footage. And people were like, what the fuck? This sucks. I'm like, I can't even imagine if you're Insomniac seeing that shit. Like, you gotta be kidding me, dude. You're saying for an alpha build, it actually looked good? I mean, that's the thing, man. If you're looking at it, realizing what you're looking at, you realize, holy shit, there's a lot of potential here. This is gonna be pretty good. That's why I'm so curious to see how Wolverine turns out, man. Because, like, there's been so much shit surrounding this game. And it's like, it's either going to deliver the goods or it's not. And I'm thinking it's going to, but we just got to see it. We got to see this game. I'm super excited for Wolverine, man. I really am. I've been waiting a long time for this game. I'm actually, look, I'm not trying to be naively optimistic here, but if we are going to get a state of play in February, I really, really, really hope we see Wolverine. Like, that's a game I've been dying to see for so long. We're in 2025 now. I'm ready. Like, I'm totally ready to see this game. Do I want it to be open world or would I prefer it to be linear? If I had my choice, I would prefer linear. But I would be okay with like a kind of wide linear where like, and I forget what the leak said, but if they want to make it so it's kind of similar to something like God of War, where there are some open spaces that you can explore a little bit, I'd be cool with that. But I don't want like a full open world. Based on the leaks, it looks like they're going for an open world. I wouldn't be shocked considering that's what Spider-Man was. I'd still be excited for it. It just depends on how they handle it. But we will see, man. Open zone. Yeah, I guess. Is that another? I think that's another term for wide linear, right? Open zone. Too many open world games? I mean, yeah, I get a little bit fatigued sometimes with open world games. It's one of the reasons why I'm like basically sluggish with Cyberpunk right now, because I could just tell, like, even just walking around in that game world, I'm like, oh my God. It's like, it almost gets to a point where it's like a game can be overwhelmingly immersive, where it's like, the open world is scaring me. But I really hope if we get a state of play in February, we finally get some Wolverine footage, man. I really, 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 really do. I shouldn't play Stalker then? Oh, God. Cyberpunk is actually pretty simple. It just looks intense. Okay. Yeah, I get that sense somewhat with some of the stuff I'm looking at. I'm like, all right, I know what this stuff is. There's just a lot going on screen. Don't get intimidated or overwhelmed. The open world missions will be there no matter what. They won't go anywhere. Just enjoy the story and do side missions whenever you come across it. Okay, that's how I'm trying to approach it. Yeah. Doom is going kind of open world too. Dude, there's just something. I say this as somebody who hasn't really played much Doom, but man, it is awesome. Like, because I was like rewatching some of that footage just when the metal music kicks in. You know, the metal kicks in. You're hearing the guitars chug, and I'm like, all right, I'm feeling it. Like I'm starting to feel the adrenaline going a little bit here. You know, like I am ready to rip and tear, bro. I don't even rip and tear, but I'm ready to rip and tear. I love that shit. Doom is such a strange. I can't like. Doom might be one of the more shocking games, like, because they have 3 games now, counting Doom: The Dark Ages. I mean, I've watched so much footage and I've heard so much about Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, and I don't know, I always thought it was awesome, but it's just one of these weird situations where I'm like, that's awesome, but I just never played it. For whatever reason. I don't know. Even though it's like a game I'd probably fucking love, because every time I see it, I'm like, yes. Yes. So that's why I think I'm just going to go. You know what really caught my interest? I know I'm kind of circling back to the first topic, but what caught my interest yesterday, what caught my interest is when they were saying that this one's a prequel. So even if you didn't play the other 2 games, this is a good place to actually start. I'm like, that's actually really reassuring to me, because one of the biggest reasons I was like, I don't know if I'm going to play this new one is because I didn't play the other 2. I've listened to people talk about them and I've seen gameplay, but I never actually played it myself. And I was like, man, I don't know how I feel about jumping into the 3rd installment, but they're like, no, it's a prequel. I'm like, okay, that makes it a lot easier to decide. And I don't know. I guess one of the things I like too, when they were talking about the different themes of each Doom game, they were talking about how like the first game was about, I forget what they said. I remember the first game was about, or the second game was about jumping and shooting. The first game was about run and gun, I think they said. and the third one is about standing and fighting. And I think that's an interesting kind of design philosophy between each game where I'm like, I think that appeals to me even more. The philosophy of the third game where they're like, you're going to stand and fight with the shield and, basically just like get in there like a tank. I'm like that. Yeah, that sounds pretty sick. And the melee weapons. There's a lot about Doom, the Dark Ages that's actually speaking to me. I would say more so than the other two games. Zombie Dragon, thank you for the super chat, buddy. You're saying I'm expecting the Wolverine game to play like Doom just without the guns and the claws. And with claws. I was going to say without the guns and claws. But without the guns, but with claws. I don't know that it's going to play like Doom. I mean, it depends on what you mean, Zombie Dragon. Like, if you mean you're expecting, like, some serious carnage and, like, gore and just, like, badassery, I am 100% there with you. And that, like, dude, I want to see that shit from Wolverine. Like, I want to see Wolverine gameplay where he's going berserker mode, tearing shit up. I want to see that with some sick music playing in the background. So in that sense, yeah, it will be very different in the sense that it's a third person, over the shoulder game. But yeah, man, I cannot wait to see Wolverine. Don't let me down, Insomniac. Please don't. I don't think so, Chris. Well, maybe. I don't know if I'm on board with that. You're saying Wolverine will basically be Spider-Man and God of War style gameplay. Maybe. I mean, I think there will be cues taken from God of War, but I don't know. I guess I could see that to a degree. The more I think about it, it did kind of have that look somewhat. You just fully expect Jean Grey to look like a man since they're partnering with Sweet Baby. You know what they should do? They should make Logan look beautiful and make Jean just look hideous. Just give Logan some eyeshadow. I remember the 2009 Wolverine based on X-Men Origins. Hell yeah, that game was awesome. That game was sick, dude. That's what I'm talking about. He was tearing shit up in that game. I'm like, let's go. I want to see it. You're saying the character model for Logan does look good, though. No homo. They're literally doing what I'm saying. They're doing it. They're actually doing it. PlayStation Pete, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Thank you for the $2 super chat. You're saying here, is Capcom remaking Dino Crisis? Are you buying it? As of right now, there's no official word on Capcom remaking Dino Crisis, but they did recently ask, I think in a survey, what games they would like to, that fans would like to see remade from franchises, and Dino Crisis was on that list. If they remade it, I would definitely buy it, yeah. I'm not like one of these die-hard Dino Crisis fans, but if they remake it, considering, the quality of the remakes that they've done so far with other games, yeah, I would definitely buy it for sure. So I hope they do. I think a lot of people would be excited for that. All right. They need to remake Resident Evil Outbreak as well. Come on, Capcom. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, please do me a favor and take a moment to hit that like button, okay? We're at 127 likes. I appreciate everybody who hit the like button so far, but if you want to help the stream a little bit more, I said it as if you could hit the like button twice. I don't know why I said it like that. If you haven't hit the like button already, please do so. It helps the stream. That's all I'm trying to say. We do have one final topic here to discuss. Just give me one moment to bring it up. Just some new information on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. This one was interesting and making the rounds. The title from VGC, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, will not be a PlayStation 6 exclusive, producer promises. The producer of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy has assured players that the third part will not be exclusive to PlayStation 6. The first part of FF7 Remake was initially a PS4 exclusive before coming to PS5 and PC more than a year later. The second part, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, followed suit by initially releasing only on PS5. The PC version released yesterday. Because of the length of time required to develop each part, some have speculated that the as-yet untitled third part of the trilogy may continue the trend and may release exclusively on PlayStation 6. However, series producer Yoshinori Kitase says players don't have to worry about this being the case. In a recent interview with Japanese publication 4Gamer, Kitase had it put to him by the interviewer that for those who have played FF7 Remake on PS4 and FF7 Rebirth on PS5, I think there may be some concern that the third work will be for the next generation console only. Kitase laughed and replied, "No, you can rest assured about the next one." Obviously, there's some translation things going on here, but he also reassured that they started work on Part 3 immediately after Rebirth ended development in March/April of 2024. They've already been developing it for 9 months. Now, on top of this, in a different, I think it might actually be the same interview. No, it's actually a separate interview. They revealed that the story is wrapped up for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. It's done. They put a bow on it, and they said it's good to go. They say finishing off the remake project was given to Tetsuya Nomura as homework while respecting the original and providing a sense of satisfaction that wasn't felt in the original. Kitase continues, that was finally completed at the end of the year, and the scenario for the third installment was completed there. He adds that he's very satisfied with the story for the final part, and he's sure that fans will be satisfied with the final chapter. So this is interesting because I think when people read this, some people thought it was like the way the title was written is that it's not going to be exclusive to PlayStation. It's going to release on other platforms day one. I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's what he meant. I think it's pretty clear. He's saying it's going to be a cross-gen game at the very least. Silent Poet, thank you for the $5 super chat. You're saying with God of War Ragnarok outselling The Last of Us 2, I think this is Cory Barlog and Sony Santa Monica's chance to take the crown away from Naughty Dog and Druckmann with their new IP. Yeah. No, I think if we're talking about competition between PlayStation Studios, competition between Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica, I don't know how they view it internally, but Intergalactic seemingly has a little bit to prove based off of the initial reveal and the reaction from the general public. It'll be really interesting to see what Santa Monica Studios' new IP ends up looking like, or how that's revealed and how people take to it or don't take to it. Because I do agree with you. I think that the trajectory of Santa Monica Studio, God of War 2018, God of War Ragnarok, if they reveal a new IP that people are in love with and are like, holy shit, this looks amazing and gets universal love and praise, we know that this new IP is going to be a graphical powerhouse. We know that it's likely going to have an amazing story based off of, the story we saw in God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. I think there's a real chance. Yeah, I do think so. We will find out, Silent Poet. Yeah, and this will be their first new IP in decades, so very interesting. You're saying the Attitude Era of MBG's community? Xbox is rumored to be getting the remake this year and Rebirth next year. Wonder if Part 3 will just be PlayStation and PC, or if Switch and Xbox will be same day. Well, I do think something that likely will change, Like, I don't think originally Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 in the contract, I don't think it was going to be a day one PC release. I wouldn't be surprised if they changed that. And they're like, yeah, we'll just launch it day one on PC, because after the sales struggle of Rebirth, I think it did like well enough, but clearly did not meet expectations for Sony or Square. I could see them wanting to change that. And this could be a great opportunity for Sony to experiment without really having to take their own game. You get what I'm saying? Like, let's see what changes if we just drop this game day one on PC as well. Maybe it does a lot better. Maybe it doesn't do much at all. But when he says it's not going to be exclusive to PlayStation 6, I think that he's basically just saying that it will likely be available for PlayStation 6, or there will be a PlayStation 6 version, but it's going to be a PS5 game first. It's going to be cross-gen. It's not being developed from the ground up right now for the PS6. But it's interesting because it's pretty clear that Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 is targeting a 2027 or 2028 release. And we just recently went over a new rumor that seems to indicate the PlayStation 6 is going to be ready to go by potentially as soon as holiday 2027. I mean, it's not really that soon, but that seems to be when they're targeting to release it. So because of this, I really do wonder if they're just going to release it as a cross-gen title where it's going to be a PS6 and PS5 game, maybe at around the launch of the PlayStation 6. But the game might not be ready till yeah, that's the big thing here, Josh. You're saying 2027 is the 30th anniversary. I imagine they're going to try to really make sure that it's going to be ready to go for the 30th anniversary. And I think it would be very smart of them. Believe it or not, I know it's all about like, oh, exclusivity and whatnot, but what they should do for Part 3, PS6, PS5, and PC day one. That's what they should do. I wouldn't care if they decided to cancel the contract with Sony, or Sony decided to cancel it and Part 3 is not going to be exclusive, that's fine. But assuming Sony still wants it to stay off of other consoles, they should put it on PC and PS5. They need to give it the best possible chance. I really do think so. And if they're that scared, they should just release it on everything. Package deal for the whole thing. Oh, yeah, they're going to do that too. I forgot about that. Package all 3 games. I mean, these exclusivity deals, I understand that Sony is usually labeled the bad guy here, but we have to understand that it takes two to tango, and that these publishers and these developers have a choice. They're not being forced to take exclusivity deals. I think people, when they talk about it, they always just overlook the fact that money is being exchanged. Money is being exchanged. You know what I mean? It's not like Sony's walking up to Square with a gun pointed to their head being like, you're exclusive now, mother effer, you know, like, no, they have to agree to it. And sometimes they don't work, dude. Sometimes the exclusivity deals can work out great. Other times they can be disastrous. It's the risk. You know, it's the name of the game. It's always been this way when it comes to exclusive deals. And I think for Square, it really clearly did not work out for them. You can't blame Square or Sony, though, because look at Final Fantasy VII Remake. Look at Part 1, dude. That game did amazing. And both Square Enix and Sony were very happy with it. But it's understandable that they would have just assumed that maybe Final Fantasy 16, it's a little bit less of a sure thing, but at least with Rebirth, they were sure, like, yeah, this one's going to be just as big. And then it's like, well, actually, it's going to struggle a bit. And then there was also Forspoken. Yeah, that was pretty much a disaster. Final Fantasy VII Remake was released during lockdown. Square took the deal thinking that Final Fantasy was just as popular as it was in the 90s. Yeah. Well, I do think it'll be interesting. I'm more interested to see what happens to Final Fantasy when it makes its way to Switch 2. Because I think it's clear that this trilogy at some point is going to release on the Switch 2. And I'm really curious to see if that's where Square makes their money back, because it's not going to be through Xbox. I think it's fine if it goes to Xbox. It can't hurt. But I think really the Switch is going to be the last big hope for Square maybe recouping all the money that they expected to get back, or maybe even making some money, you know? But I absolutely imagine that one of the things that will change, I would be surprised, dude. I'm going to be honest. I would be very surprised if Final Fantasy VII Part 3 is not day one on PC. I would be surprised, because I feel like after seeing the situation, unless it's just not ready. You know, if it's not ready, it's not ready. If they have the PS6 and PS5 version done and it's ready to release, but they're like, we need more time to optimize for PC, then it is what it is, you know? Because keep in mind, here's what's interesting. You look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I remember when that was first revealed, or the release date was given, it said like exclusive to PS5 for the first 3 months until like May of 2023. And it just now released on PC. So it's very clear that, like, when they say it's easier for us to just get the game up and running, finished and polished on the console, they're not lying. Like, they can get it done quicker. And I would imagine maybe that kind of reveals that they're not going to be able to drop it day one on PC, simply because it's actually not even a business decision. It's just, we're just literally, it's not done. The PS5 and PS6 version is done, but the PC version needs more time. They could just maybe do that again. I don't know, though. If you think about it, let's say, if Final Fantasy VII Part 3 can be marketed as a PlayStation 6 launch game, it's going to be cross-gen. Like, yes, you can still buy it on PS5, but it's still going to be there day one for the PlayStation 6. I think that'll be big for it. Assuming the PlayStation 6 isn't like an $800 console like many of us believe it will be. Many of you guys believe it will be. But I think that could be big for it, because I think that's going to be like, oh, shit. You know? Let's just face it. Launch titles always sell well. You could put anything out at launch, and it's probably going to sell decent. You put out a big game like FF7 Remake Part 3, I think it has a really good chance of getting off to a hot start. So it'll be interesting to see when they reveal this. Sounds like they are really just off to the races with development of Part 3. I mean, they said it themselves. They've been developing it for 9 months now, so they have almost a year of development already under their belt. You think they need better marketing because they didn't do enough for Rebirth? Well, I have to imagine Sony wants to help them out here, you know? Sony, I think, wants to try to help Square sell as many units as possible, because, again, Sony, there is a reason why Sony wanted to pay the money down to lock this down as an exclusive. There's a reason for that. They want it to do well too, so it's in both companies' best interest. GTA 6 PS5 Pro Enhanced. Yeah, I imagine it will be. Could you imagine if it wasn't? All right. Let me just take a quick look around. Just give me one moment, guys. Okay, there's a lot of... Hold on. So, over on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, this is Xbox related, but it says Rebs Gaming says Halo Combat Evolved Remake started production in January 2024, is now in full production. Certain Affinity's multiplayer Halo project is still alive. These are things we're going to want to pay attention to, because if it's true that Microsoft is going all in with PS5, then these games are being developed on PS5. Tom Warren says, hold on. Tom Warren heard that Gears of War E-Day is targeting 2025, Oblivion in spring, and hints at seeing Contraband and Clockwork Revolution at the Xbox showcase in June. Man, Gears of War E-Day 2025. Oh, shit. That's interesting to me. I would not have assumed E-Day is going to be 2025. That'd be super interesting, man. I would be genuinely shocked by that. I thought for sure that's a 2026 game. Interesting. All right. Skill Up claims that Forspoken is arriving on Xbox this Friday. Did I miss the announcement? Yo, that's funny. We were just talking about that. Oh my God. Oh yeah, dude. Forspoken was a 2-year exclusive. That was so weird. I remember talking about that. I'm like, why is it 2 years? Gears of War E-Day and Blade should be launch titles, for Xbox Prime. Yeah, we haven't heard from Blade in a while. Xbox Prime, bro. Apparently I don't know. Apparently there wasn't much truth to that. Forspoken, yeah, that'll probably drop on Game Pass. You're saying these bots are hungry. I don't think so. I mean, I think everybody's getting fed pretty well. Except for Switch 2 players or Switch 2 fans. You can't call them fans, but I feel like everybody was starving for the Switch 2. And then Nintendo's like, we'll be back in April. All right. Can you just leave us alone? And then they just left. Like, here it is. Here's the console. Just please shut up and leave us alone. We'll see you in like 3 months. It's like, oh, okay. I played the demo for a little bit of Forspoken, and I just couldn't get into it, man. I couldn't get into it. I think the real question is if Gears of War E-Day is going to be on PS5. That to me is the big question. Here's my assumption. If Gears of War E-Day is actually going to come out this year, if it's a 2025 game, I don't think it's PS5. No. I think they want to release it on PS5, Microsoft that is, but I don't think the game will be ready. I think it'll be another Indiana Jones situation where right now I think that, because you have to think, if this game is going to be ready to drop at the end of this year, that means they got like 8 months, maybe 9 months, anywhere between 8 to 10 months to get this game 100%. And I think that they will have a PS5 version, but it's going to come a little bit late. They're going to need more time to port it over, optimize it properly. Or maybe not. I don't know. It'd be kind of crazy if they didn't. That would be nuts. It would be absolutely shocking. It just feels like it would be too quick, where it's like at the end of this year, like November of this year, Gears of War E-Day dropping on PS5. I'd be stunned. I'd be like, what? What? That'd be pretty cool, though. The voice acting and main character for Forspoken. It was cringe. Yeah. Yeah, it was. You could tell it had that like Marvel writing. All the developers are scared waiting on GTA 6 release date. Nobody wants to go against GTA 6. You're completely correct. It's kind of annoying. I'm going to be honest. I feel like the industry is being, outside of Microsoft with their developer direct. Well, all right, to be fair, it's not that the industry is being weirdly quiet, but it's just like we know about pretty much no games coming for the second half of 2025, and you can tell that's why. You can tell developers are just not going to commit. They're just not going to commit. Pretty ballsy for Doom to be the first big game to drop a release date. Yeah, dude, you know what's funny? You know what's so funny? You want to talk about people being disingenuous on the internet, and I know I sound so... I just can't help but... like, anytime I think about Doom now, I think about this. We're like, dude, I got clowned on so bad at the end of 2023, going into 2024, I got clowned on so bad by all these people that I talk about, like these console warriors or these disingenuous grifters and whatnot, and these people who just can't stop, I don't know, looking for any little thing. I got decimated for saying that I think the next Doom is going to be on PlayStation because I think Microsoft's going third party. I got decimated. They dragged me so bad. They made fun of me. They said that I'm a desperate PlayStation fanboy, port begging, even though I was just saying the reason why I believe this is because I think Microsoft's going third party. And it's just so funny to me. Here we are, literally months away. I think that's why they're pissed off. I think they're pissed off because I was completely fucking right. I think that's what chaps their ass, dude. They're like, MBG can't be right. He can't be right. No, he has to be a pony port beggar. No, I'm here to tell you that I was right. I said Microsoft is probably going third party. All the signs are there. And I said the next Doom probably going to come to PlayStation 5. And you know why I said it would come to PS5? Because it's going to fucking sell. And here we are. Not only is it going to come to PS5, you know the only thing I was wrong about? I forgot to mention the PS5 Pro support. That's what I forgot to mention. It'll also be supported on the PS5 Pro. Still no word on Starfield, which is, I will say, kind of surprising. I would have thought that Microsoft wanted to get that on PlayStation sooner rather than later. But it seems like right now the priority for Microsoft is upcoming games. Making sure that, trying to figure out which upcoming games are going to be ready, which ones are not. But yeah, I'm not going to buy Starfield if it comes to PS5. I'll cover it. I'll talk about it. I'll let everybody know about it. But yeah, that's true. They'll save it for when they want to boost their quarterly earnings. God damn, Planet Schlorpian. That is savage. That is unnecessarily savage. Xbox is king is definitely waiting for me to get that Game Pass. MBG, it's crazy. They never admit you're wrong. They will never admit. Oh, okay. I think there's a typo there. You just retracted that. You think Doom on the PS5 Pro will give PC a run for its money? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure it'll probably look really good and run really well. Ray, a member for 40 months. Thank you for that long-time support, buddy. You're saying Xbox console warriors have not realized that so-called first-party Xbox games are coming to PlayStation day and date. So funny. Why is that? Because they're too busy talking about how Ninja Gaiden 4 is a first-party Xbox game, bro. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. I went on a whole tangent about this earlier, but it's crazy. El Unico says, "Why would we care as long as we get it Game Pass?" That's what I'm saying. I think most normal Xbox fans, like regular Xbox fans, not the rabid fanboys, I think that they don't care, dude. They're just like, "Yo, am I getting it on Game Pass? Yes, I'm good." I think that's what it boils down to, man. Because like I said, it's a fair trade. I think it's like listen, in order for us to continue to justify putting these games in the Game Pass, we got to start selling them in other places, including PlayStation. And I think that to most Xbox fans, that's a fair trade. You think it's funny that Sony guys have been telling you for years that their games are garbage, but now they're excited for them. Well, I mean, you have to understand though, man, like you have to look at the games we're talking about here, because I think like if you're talking about the next Doom game, I think PlayStation fans were never going to shit on the next Doom game, whether it was owned by Xbox or not. I think if you're talking about Halo the Master Chief Collection, I think that's like, bro, I'm pretty sure that's the one game that convinced a lot of PlayStation players to actually go buy an Xbox One, until they found out parts of it were broken until it was fixed. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and that disingenuousness that I talk about exists on both sides, but people excited for Gears, Halo, and Forza. Well, yeah, man. I mean, the truth is you are going to see some people who, just like we talked about earlier, people are going to decide when it's convenient for them. Like, this game is an exclusive now. You're going to see that happen with just games in general. Like, I didn't like this game, but now I like it. Devil Shooter says, MBG, it's crazy. They will say they are wrong, but we'll start playing another game beyond post moving and claim you're wrong based on that new game. I don't know. I'm not sure if did I read that correctly? Hold on. It's crazy they will say, I didn't even say, yeah, it's okay. I think I understand what you're saying. You're saying it's crazy they'll say they're not wrong, but we'll start playing another game and then claim you're wrong based on that new game. I don't agree with that. I think Forza's pretty good. GT7 wipes the floor with Forza, the latest, not Forza Horizon, but the last Forza Motorsport. I can vouch for that because I have a friend who's super into racing games, and I've watched comparisons, and it's like, yeah, dude, Gran Turismo I think wipes the floor with the recent Forza Motorsport. Horizon's awesome though. I don't think Sony has something that can really compete with Horizon. The only thing that I think Sony could put out that competes with Forza Horizon is maybe a new Motorstorm, but there's no word on that. I like Forza Horizon. I would love to see that come to PlayStation. I think that was the last Xbox game I got all the achievements for. MRPD, you're saying Halo coming to PlayStation is a laughing stock because when you look at Xbox as a brand, Halo is what comes to mind, and now Microsoft needs to release it on the PlayStation. It's laughable. Phil even said they lost their way. I do remember he said something like, when Halo loses its way, Xbox has lost its way or something like that. Well, Phil is not really in charge in the way that he once was. And I think we have to understand that. I think a lot of people understand that now. Like, Phil is just, he's taking orders from Satya, from whoever's above him now, to a degree where it's like he still manages everybody below him and still manages, Matt Booty and Sarah Bond and the studios and all that stuff and the platform itself. But when it comes to the bigger decisions, I think he's been overruled. I think that's clear. I don't think Phil Spencer wants to release Halo on PlayStation. I don't think he wants to do that. But I think he has to do that. That's my guess. Oh wow, Prince, that's a hell of a way to put that, bro. Don't you remember, dude? It's so funny to me. Like, don't you remember when Satya Nadella was like, "If this is about competition, let us compete." Bro, finessed everybody. Like, all right, I guess. I mean, I guess they're kind of compete. I don't know. The whole conversation around the competition. It's like I said, man. I just can't get away from this notion that everybody's winning, and there's still this whole thing. It's like there's still this. It's this growing group of people that are like, Xbox is killing PlayStation. I'm like, what are you like? One of the weirdest things I see, and I saw this yesterday, and I saw this a lot, and I'm still seeing it, and it's like, this is not good. If this continues to grow, the gaming industry is going to turn into something that I'm going to struggle to really engage deeply with. I don't think it is, though, because there's a difference between what people are saying on the internet and the reality, the numbers. I've been seeing this thing where it's like a lot of seemingly Xbox players or Xbox-centric players, it's like they begin to kind of laugh at and demonize the idea of buying video games at full price. And I'm just like, that's a really bad way to go to, like, I would say that's just a bad perception to have for the gaming industry. Like, it's okay if you're like, man, I love saving money and I'm glad that I don't have to buy all these games full price because, well, you're still paying money for Game Pass, but you feel like you're saving money in the long run because you're not buying all these games $70 a pop. That's fine. Like, I want to make it clear. There is a difference between enjoying your gaming service and feeling as though you're getting a good deal and saving a little bit of money. There's a difference between that and trying to demonize people who are buying video games. That's the thing that I've seen over the past 24 hours that is like, that shit needs to stop, dude, because whether you know it or not, like, developers still need you to buy their games. That's why they're coming to PS5. That's why they're going to Switch 2. Developers still need you to buy their games. It's fine that underneath Game Pass, you don't have to do that. Microsoft has set it up that way. That's fine. Enjoy it. That's why it's there. But it is just bizarre to me to see how there's a group of people that are really trying aggressively to weaponize that. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with a PlayStation player saying, I'm going to pay $70 for Doom. If anything, Bethesda loves that. If anything, the devs love that. They don't hate that. That's the last thing a developer would ever demonize. And I get it. It's like, well, if you're a consumer, it's like, what do you mean? If you're a consumer, we shouldn't be willing to buy video games? I'll never get behind that notion, dude. I get it. Listen, if you're somebody, the price of things are going up. People are beginning to struggle financially. I get it. I'm not here to demonize Game Pass. The only thing I am here to condemn are the people who are trying to demonize those who are willing to buy games at full price and making it seem like they're fools, or like, I'm seeing these memes that people are showing me on Twitter and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are you, like, who is even making this shit? You're not playing video games. You're making these dumbass memes. And worse yet, I'm being subjected to it. Or I'm seeing these memes where it's like, there's like the crying PlayStation fanboy, which is pretty funny, in between, in the middle, and then like below it, it's like Xbox games, and then at the top, it's just like Xbox Game Studios or just like Microsoft. And I'm like, I don't even, like, what are you even trying to say with this dumbass meme? Like, what are you saying? It's like, yeah, you're funding Xbox. Like, dude, listen to me. It has gotten so bad that these people are celebrating the fact that they refuse to buy games. And that is what has led to this. Like, I don't know if they realize how this actually looks outside of their bubble. But the reality is, you guys who are celebrating this and demonizing people buying games, you're the reason these games are going to PlayStation. You're the reason why all of this is happening. You didn't win. I'm sorry. I don't know why they think they won anything. Like, you're still paying $20 a month for Game Pass. You're still paying a lot of money yearly for Game Pass. You're still giving Microsoft money. If you're saving a little bit of money in the long run, sure, take that as a win. But guess what? Like, those of us who were here from the start playing our games have no problem buying them. Now we're getting even more games. And you're celebrating that in the most moronic way possible by trying to demonize it. It's crazy, dude. It's absolutely nuts. And it's no wonder why Microsoft was like, fuck these guys, dude. It's no wonder. I'm just being honest, man. It's no wonder why Satya Nadella is like, this is who you're catering to? Yeah, no. Release the games. Get some PS5 dev kits. Get some Switch 2 dev kits. What are you doing? It's no wonder why. And that's not me trying to be like some kind of fanboy console war shit. I'm just saying that's real. The Xbox ecosystem nearly imploded on itself because they could not sell enough video games. And one of the reasons they did this, one of the reasons this happened was because the Xbox One struggled to sell. After that, Game Pass comes out. Game Pass conditions the player base. You don't need to buy games anymore. And now that player base is fully immersed in that. They've bathed in it. They're like, yes, we will never buy a video game again. Meanwhile, Microsoft is like, oh, for fuck's sake. It's just, I mean, at the end of the day, none of that is problematic because this is where it ended up. It's like I said, everybody wins. But I'm just sorry, man. Like, these people who are out here trying to dunk on video game players who buy video games, you're fucking weird, and you're actually probably just hurting the industry. I'll be honest. It's fine if you want to save money. It's fine if you want to get a good deal. Who doesn't want to do that? But it's not fine to make it sound like if somebody wants to buy Doom at full price, there's something wrong with them. Holy shit, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I digress, as usual. Let me see here. All right. What am I playing this weekend? Probably Cyberpunk. Yeah, sometimes Gaming Survivor. I was a little bit confused. I'm like, wait, is the chat delayed or something? You'll be bringing Bruce Lee? Wait, what are you talking about? Hold on, what? That's the most random chat I've seen in a while. I'm a fan of Bruce Lee. I love Bruce Lee. I'm just trying to figure out what's like, why are you bringing Bruce Lee? What's going on? Hold on now. Did I manage to get the disc drive for Mrs. MBG? Not yet, actually. No. No. At some point, I'm going to. I did find a workaround, though. I was just like hooking up the old PlayStation 5 and in the room she's playing in that does have a disk drive. It's just a little bit cumbersome, but for now, that's the workaround. The disk drives, they come in stock, and then they're there, and then they're gone, and then they're back, and then they're gone. They're not just... It seems like Sony's only... They're not producing an overabundance of disk drives, which is annoying. But... You got yours from PlayStation Direct last week. I mean, they have random drops. Yeah. So... We got to be on the lookout for that. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second. Yo, hold on. Bro, this shit is... Oh my God. Y'all made fun of Colt Eastwood, but he ended up having the last laugh. Colt Eastwood says, Aaron, is Ninja Gaiden 4 a first-party title since Xbox Global is publishing it? Aaron Greenberg says, yes, it is a first-party Xbox Game Studios published title for us, and we have loved working with those teams on this game /announce. The Xbox Wire piece speaks to the history of the project, which started with Phil Spencer visiting those teams in Japan many years ago. Platinum Games had the expertise we felt was ideal for working on Ninja Gaiden, and with support from Microsoft's Phil Spencer, CEO of Microsoft Gaming, and 3 companies were able to take the next step towards creating a brand new Ninja Gaiden. Like, dude, Microsoft literally had, like... Hold on. This is the same Aaron Greenberg. You know what? It's whatever. It's cool. It's cool, man. That's it. Aaron Greenberg has spoken. He answered Colt Eastwood. Ninja Gaiden 4 is a first-party Microsoft title. However, keep in mind that when Sony does this, they are not first-party titles. Dude, Aaron Greenberg, the amount of things that this man has, it's just like straight up, it's been proven he lied. This is what I mean, dude. Like, what the fuck is going on? Dude, what is going on? Aaron, there are literal tweets out there. I mean, just like 4K photographic evidence of like this dude just straight up either lying or just saying shit that turned out to be the literal 180 opposite of what he's saying. But people are out here like, they got the last laugh. Like, what are you fucking talking about? What are you talking about? Oh my God, dude. I can't believe this shit. Dude, there is no moving of the goalposts. A new fucking goalpost is being constructed every day. There's no need to move it. We just take it down and we build a new one. All right? It's crazy. And to be clear, like, yeah, this has nothing to do with this game being a first party. It's just, it has everything to do with like people just ignoring shit and pretending it was never real. Like, I don't. Okay. You know what, man? I get it, dude. I get it. We are watching Xbox in the process of, they are in the process of moving things over, embracing PlayStation, embracing Nintendo, and I understand that this is the push, dude. The push from the other side is going to be, it's gaslight to fucking oblivion. No. There's nothing weird or strange about any of this. There's nothing weird or strange about any of this. Why? Dude, oh my God. I can't believe these Xbox executives are out here like, it's nothing new, man. They've been doing this for a long time. I do think that's ultimately a good thing, though, when it comes to, you're saying Phil Spencer got us Ninja Gaiden 4. That's good. That's good. We do want to see more of that. We do want to see more of that, but it's just weird, dude. Sony thinks exactly the same. No, I know. I've known that. Yeah, that's why every time we would talk about like Helldivers 2 or, Rise of the Ronin or whatever, it's like, I mean, we probably should count them as first-party games because that's how Sony sees them. But I try to be fair and like acknowledge that these aren't Sony teams. Like, dude, it's just insane when it's like, I've seen people, some of these same people going fucking ballistic over, you better not fucking dare ever look at something like Death Stranding or Final Fantasy. Don't you ever fucking dare try to lump that in with first party. Don't ever do it. Ever. Sony's funding it. Sony's publishing it. Sony's hashing out the deal. Not first party. Sony didn't develop it. Don't you ever put that shit in the first party basket. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, technically you're right. It's not a Sony studio that made it. It's Sony money that made it happen, but not a Sony studio making it. Now that it's the other way around, literal Xbox executives interacting with fans, being like, oh yeah, no, it's first party. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me, dude. It's nuts. It's crazy out here, man. Have we talked about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth PC sales and piracy? No, I haven't even been paying attention. What's going on there? Well, this changes the entire conversation now about what's first party and what's not. It really does. Sony published Stellar Blade. You don't hear them saying it's first party. Oh yeah, but we will now. Now we know. Yeah, Stellar Blade's first party. It is. Yep. Stellar Blade's first party. Rise of the Ronin's first party. God damn. Sony's first party output last year was pretty nuts. Wasn't it? We got to get MBG back to the gym. I'm going to be working out later. Yeah. No way. This is MBG in the chat saying, how could you rant? How could you rant? Did Arrowhead cancel the PS5 Pro patch? I don't know. Yeah, they've been silent on that. Thank you for that milestone chat, Mrs. MBG. You're saying there's a difference we're talking about when Sony gives a developer money to keep it on their system for a limited time that is not considered first party. Well, I mean, let me look again. Well, Microsoft is giving them money to put it on Game Pass, basically, and to develop the game. So the only real difference here is, yeah, they're not asking them to keep it off of PlayStation. But if you're Sony and your main goal is to sell consoles through exclusivity, or at least partly through exclusivity, or having these games, you know? I don't know, man. I don't see a difference here. You're saying, yeah, but they paid for everything. It wasn't like, sure, make this game for us, even though you're putting your own money into it. Well, I know, but I'm saying I'm fairly certain it's the same thing with Sony, dude. When Sony publishes a game, they're funding a large majority of it. They're not just literally when Sony drops the money for exclusivity, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain it's up to the developer to decide how they want to distribute that money. Do you want to put that money into the development of the game, or do you want to put it somewhere else? It's your money either way. Sony's giving you the check. They're writing you the check. You know? As long as you hold up your end of the bargain. No, I'm not a cannabis consumer. See, this is where I feel like we're getting way too into the semantics here. And it's always the same thing with these arguments. You know, it's always like, well, did they fund the whole thing or not? And it's like, what does that matter? What if 3/4 of it was funded? You know? Suddenly it does. Well, now it doesn't count. Like, what's the threshold? What's the threshold? I don't know, man. Shit's getting so toxic out here. It's fucking nuts. I just don't I don't even understand anymore. Like, listen, I don't fucking understand. Here's what I don't understand, dude. Well, let me make something clear. I do understand it, but I just feel the need to like bring it up because it's like, why is this happening? And we really should figure out a way to stop it. The console war is over. It's been over. And now you want to talk about moving the fucking goalposts? The goalposts are being moved to, yeah, consoles don't matter now. It's now about publishing wars. And I'm like, who decided that? You decided that because you realize that's what Xbox is doing because they gave up in the console space. If they didn't give up in the console space, you would still be here. You would still be here fighting the same way you were fighting the whole time. It's just like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. If you won, what are you still going on about? You know what I'm saying? Like, if Microsoft is better because look at the show they put on, look at how many games they have, look at the IP, look at the deals they made, and look, they funded Ninja Gaiden 4. Like, why is it so important to point out to everybody that Ninja Gaiden 4 is a first party Xbox game? Like, I don't get it. What does it matter? You already have all the studios. You already have all the games. We get it. Xbox is the biggest publisher in the world. What are you trying to prove at this point? I'm telling you, man, it's because that's all they have. That's all they have, man. Like, Xbox is literally capitulating entirely to PlayStation. And they know this. They know they can't stop it. They know they're going to see the announcement of Halo coming to fucking PlayStation. It's inevitable. They know that's happening. And they think, well, if I can just convince, if we can just settle the score here, Ninja Gaiden 4 is a first-party game. Yep. 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 It's a first-party game. Yep. Okay. Yeah, well, what do you have to say about that? Maybe I'll buy it on PlayStation. That's cool. I don't get, like, I'm like seriously wondering, like, what the fuck, what kind of weird hamster wheel are they running on, bro? I'm just trying to figure out, what is the end game here? What is the end game? That's a serious question, dude. Like, these guys are out here, they're trying to flex left and right. They're trying to flex on everybody, all these PlayStation dudes. And I'm like, what is your end game? What are you trying to achieve? You won, right? You won. You changed the rules of, it's no longer about console sales. So therefore, Sony didn't win, nor did Nintendo. Now it's about publishing. And you know what? Microsoft bought all the publishers. They have the biggest publishers. They have the most games. So we win. Okay, you win. We'll take those games, though. Yeah. Sure. But, well, we get it on Game Pass. Okay. Cool. Go play it on Game Pass, then. We're going to play it on PlayStation. We're going to play it on PS5 Pro. You do that, bro. You have fun. But don't you know, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. Okay. Maybe I'll subscribe. I don't know. I'll see. Well, you're a pony. Yeah. You subscribe because you're a pony. Yeah. We laugh at you. Like, okay, man. That's cool. That's cool. We'll just be over here playing our games on PlayStation. Like, I'm telling, like, this is literally what I'm seeing. And I'm seeing so many people just jumping on board and acting like it's normal. It's like, none of this is normal. These people are weird. I guess maybe entertaining, though. Got to give it that. I mean, hey, it catches my attention. So it must be entertaining. I'm going full MBG, bro. Never go full MBG. Never go full MBG. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting thing to witness, and I feel as though it's only the beginning. Like, you know what I'm really waiting for, though? In all seriousness, the thing I'm waiting for, and this is going to be the day. You want to see MBG really go full MBG. I'm waiting for the day that Halo is announced for PlayStation. And I cannot wait to see what narratives are being spun then. Oh, that's going to be the day. That's going to be the day where you're going to see a whole shift in me. Where we are going to, guys, get your hazmat suits on. Because we're diving. We're going deep. Because I cannot wait, dude. I cannot wait to see those. And I will predict a narrative. You ready? Hold on, I can already predict one. Yeah, well, you guys are going to have to pay full price for Halo the Master Chief Collection on PS5. We've had Master Chief Collection. We can play it on Game Pass anytime we want. I can't wait for that. Please make that the narrative. Please. Or even better. Well, I guess everybody likes Halo now, huh? You can tell there's this fucking pain inside. There's this chip on their shoulder. There's this chip on their shoulder, dude, where, like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm sorry. I was there, too. People did not want to buy Xboxes for these games. But they will pay $70, $60 if that game is released on their console or wherever they like to play. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. MBG, you just said you hate console warring and then salivate over the future of your console warring. No. I'm not saying we're going to console war. I'm not saying it. I'm saying I can't wait to read the narratives. I want to see the narratives. I'm not gonna, you know, well, I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but I'm not trying a console war because the console war is dead. Console war's over. If it's gonna be some kind of platform war, I mean, I gotta see the narratives that people are gonna be putting out here because I know it's gonna be something just. Oh man. Why are Xbox so desperate to be validated by PlayStation players? Xbox players begging MBG to try Game Pass to try to change his mind is just weird. Dude, it's all about content output, dude. Listen, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. Well, to be honest, I don't know how much of a secret it is. But the reality is these things you see happen, the people who are doing it, they are just trying to funnel any type of content they can. I understand, like, I am also a YouTuber. I would like to get clicks. I would like to get viewership. I would like you to come in and watch my content, of course. One of the hardest things to do these days is to get people to come inside and hang out or watch the video or click the content because the competition is fierce. I understand that. And maybe you could make an argument that space has gotten so crowded that people are willing to go to extreme lengths to stand out in any way they can. And one of the most effective things that people have discovered these days, that if they do this, they will garner attention, is convert literally anything into content. Even if it means having to just kind of spin things or alter things or just kind of shift the perspective, even forcibly. And I get it, man. It's nothing new in a way. We've seen this time and time again. But I guess maybe it's just because I find myself kind of, people are always roping me into it. It's really difficult to just overlook, why are, you're spinning a false narrative. You are cherry picking. And you are being very blatantly, obviously disingenuous, and yet people are okay with that. What's up with that? That's what's weird to me. And it's because, well, I don't know, man. It's a new age, I guess. It's a new age where this is just the way now. It's propaganda. Tired of this goddamn propaganda. What do you mean by roping you in? It's kind of like what you guys were saying, where it's like, apparently I'm being clipped everywhere for saying, yeah, I might subscribe to Game Pass. Like, what the fuck were people expecting me to say? I want you to think about this for a moment. Like, really think about this. Oh my God. Guys, come quick. Did you just see that? Xbox just had one of the best developer directs they've ever had. It's amazing. Oh my God, Microsoft, they're doing it. They're doing it. Oh my God, it's going to be in Game Pass. Oh my God, these games are going to be in Game Pass. Bro, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. Oh my God, Game Pass, can I marry Game Pass? I need to be with Game Pass. We need to take this to the next level. Like, this is, imagine this. And then it's like, yo, let's go check out this guy. Look at that. He's got a poster of PlayStations on his wall. Let's see what he's going to say. Bet it's going to be something stupid. Yeah, maybe I'll subscribe to Game Pass. Oh my, holy shit, bro! Oh my God! Oh my God! He just said he might subscribe to Game Pass. We got him. We fucking got him. He's done. That's it. It's over. Like, what I just did right there, not an over-exaggeration. That's literally, that right there is what's happening in January of 2025. Setting the stage, setting the tone. Clip it and ship it, boys. Oh, don't you worry. I'm going to be hiring somebody, making my own clips. Well, maybe not hiring somebody, but I'll find somebody. We're gonna be Clip City. I'm gonna clip myself out of context. I'm gonna beat them to it. But I mean, it is really funny to think that that's literally the situation that we find ourselves in, where people they want to talk about how Game Pass is better, Game Pass is the best, and Microsoft is the reason for that. And then when a PlayStation player's like, yeah, maybe I'll subscribe. They're I don't even know what they're doing. I'll be honest, dude, I don't even know what they're doing with that. Like, I don't know what you do with that. It would be like an Xbox player or an Xbox like enthusiast or fanboy or like content creator that they see Wolverine and there's like this awesome show that Sony puts on and they end it with Wolverine. You're like, bro, yeah, I think I might buy a PS5. It's like, got him. Like, what? Like, what? Hold on. I don't get it. Yeah, that's the point. That was the point. See, this is what happens when I pace myself when I drink my coffee. This is the result. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Y'all need to get outside and breathe more some fresh air. Or get outside more and breathe some fresh air. My bad, I read that wrong. I mean, it's really cold outside, dude. I do need to get out more. For real. I do need to get out more. I need some more sun. I would like to get more fresh air, but it's so damn cold. I don't even want to be out there for more than 5 minutes. But I see somebody asking, what's my hoodie? My hoodie is actually... It's the Knight from Dark Souls 2. But you're saying Sony won't grow like this, where Microsoft's Game Pass is going to get bigger and bigger? I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. Like, I understand why people are saying that, and I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't know the future, bro. I don't know, like, if the direction Sony's going in is truly going to work out in the long run. Sony doesn't know that, nor does Microsoft. And anybody who claims to know it just doesn't, like, I'm not interested in people coming out, and I don't mind hearing people's predictions or speculations. I think that's fine. Everybody can predict and speculate, but it's when people decide, I'm going to tell you. Let me tell you what's going to happen. It's like, no. How about no? I mean, as a publisher, Microsoft will grow, yes. Absolutely. If they keep buying studios and IP the way they are, how could they not grow? But it comes at a price, you know? It does come at a price. And Game Pass could grow too, but it remains to be seen. Are they going to hit 100 million subs by 2030? They got a long way to go. But what I do know is I'm looking at the numbers coming, like the numbers that just came out today, or yesterday, I should say. Again, it's kind of what I mentioned earlier. The numbers that came out yesterday tell you that, dude, the PS5 is pacing ahead of the PS4 in the US. It's like, I thought PlayStation was dying, man. I thought PlayStation was dead. I thought PlayStation was struggling at this point. I'm not here to tell you PlayStation's perfect and there's nothing wrong. I'm not here to tell you that, oh, dude, 9 games canceled? Pfft, that ain't nothing. Sony's the best. Nothing ever touches them. We're golden. No, I'm not here to do that. I'm also not here to tell you that, oh my God, 9 games canceled? Pack it up. You got a PlayStation 5, you better flush that shit down the toilet, bro. You better take a hammer to that thing. You better go out there right now and buy yourself either a PC or an Xbox. No. Why? You see what I'm saying? Like, these things, they don't make sense. PC it is. PC is fine. By the way, did you guys see, dude, Sony just doesn't give a fuck, dude. Like, did you guys see that Sony removed Horizon Forbidden West temporarily? Because it seems like they want to make it so anybody who goes to play Horizon Forbidden West on PC is going to have a PSN account. Like, I think Sony's like retroactively going back and like one by one, they're going to start taking their games off and putting them back on to make it so you have a PSN requirement. And I'm like, it's literally, it's funny to me because it's literally the opposite of what PC players are screaming for. PC players are like, please stop. And they're like, we'll do it more. We'll do it for games we didn't even need to do it for now. And I'm like, okay, man, damn, Sony really doesn't give a shit. It's kind of funny in a way, but. Playing games in VR is actually superior. I could see, yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on what game you're playing. I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather be getting 70% than 30%. Well, you have to understand, Xbox is king, that it really you have to look at the bigger picture, okay? Because would you rather have 30% of every single game and every single microtransaction, of every single transaction that occurs on a platform with 120, 130, 140 million players, give or take? Would you want 30% of every single transaction that takes place on that platform, or 70% of every game you're released from your own studios? Well, then again, I mean, what makes that complicated is, okay, well, how many of those games are live service? How many of those games are the games that Sony's getting 30% rip from the microtransactions, but we're getting the 70% from those microtransactions, like Call of Duty, for example. Call of Duty, yeah, 70% for every microtransaction rip, that's good. That's really, really good. So I mean, that's the idea. I think Hellbound has it here. 30% for doing nothing, dude. That's the crazy. That's why the dream, like, people need to ask themselves this. Why did Microsoft want to compete against Sony in the first place? Listen, if Microsoft's goal was to be a publisher, why didn't they start from the beginning and just be a publisher? It should be clear why. Because it's every company's dream to be able to have that storefront and that ecosystem where you do nothing. You have zero involvement with any of these games, with any of these publishers, with any of their products, and you are just raking in billions upon billions upon billions upon billions of dollars from you don't have to do anything. Sony obviously wants more. That's why they're still doing their own thing. Like, remember how I said earlier, the PlayStation platform would be just fine without PlayStation Studios? It's true. I'm glad it's not like that, but it's true. The PlayStation ecosystem would survive and still make a lot of money if PlayStation Studios disappeared overnight. PlayStation Studios are there to entice. They're there to keep people engaged. They're there to be the kind of centerpiece showcase product of, like, this is what our platform represents. You know what I mean? And why you're going to want to consider investing in it. But the truth is, here's why I say everybody wins. The reason why I say everybody wins is because both of those ways are totally viable. Microsoft can win in their own way as a publisher. And that doesn't have to be at Sony's. That's not going to be at Sony's detriment. That's actually going to help Sony. Sony's going to win as a platform holder and as a storefront, and hopefully as a publisher too. And that's not going to come at if anything, that's also helping Microsoft. This is what I'm saying, man. Microsoft chose a symbiotic relationship. They said, we want to have a symbiotic relationship with Sony now and Nintendo. That's the Satya Nadella way, bro. Like, that's what this is all about. Let us compete more like, let us symbiote, bro. Let's become symbiotic. Let us be symbiotic. That's what Satya Nadella was really saying. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to. Like, people think that PlayStation's going to go to shit now because, well, you know, Sony's not going to try because Microsoft isn't really doing much in the console space anymore. They're not competing aggressively. There's no more exclusives. That doesn't make any sense, dude. Like, Sony still wants people to buy their games. They still want to make money off their own games. They still want to bring people to the platform. Like, they still have a real, genuine incentive to give a shit. You could make the argument that it's not as aggressive or as, as important, or not important, but not as, what's the word I'm looking for? There isn't as much of, there's a specific word I'm looking for and I can't think of it. I hate it when this happens. Urgency. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. The difference is there's not an extreme urgency, which is, again, you want to know why Sony probably was like, you know what, just cancel the rest of those live service games. Fuck it. You know why Sony probably did that? Because they see, like, they know, like, holy shit, Microsoft's bringing all these games. Like, if Microsoft's bringing Halo over, dude, and Gears, Sony knows. Sony absolutely knows. That's probably why they got comfortable. And we're like, yeah, we'll just rip the Band-Aid off now. Okay. Perfect Image with a super chat. Thank you, buddy. You're saying, MBG, so there wasn't a console war, there's publisher wars now. Or this is the way that Xbox, excuse me, I can't, I'm having a stroke. Sorry, Perfect Image, I can't finish your super chat. Let me try again. MBG. So there wasn't a console war, now there's a publisher war. Or this is the way that Xbots complain more while PlayStation heads are just chilling. Yep. That's what I'm saying. That's why that Colt Eastwood tweet is interesting to me, because it's like, what is this desperation to prove that it's a first-party game? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that. I mean, if you just want to give the credit where it's due, that's fine. I don't think anybody was taking anything away from Microsoft, at least not that I saw. Maybe there were some people where it's like, we get it, man. Like, it literally flashed the logo saying they're publishing it. Just like when we see Sony Interactive Entertainment or PlayStation Studios, we see that logo flash for second or third party games sometimes. And mainly second party games. It's just like, it's because, yes, this is where the goalpost has shifted, where it's like, well, what matters now? What matters now? What matters now is who's the biggest publisher? Huh? Who's the biggest? Who's got the most games? Okay, yeah, maybe Xbox does. But who's getting both Xbox and PlayStation games? PlayStation players and PC players. Who's only getting one set of those games? Xbox players. But you got Game Pass, so no harm, no foul. I don't know, man. It's just such a bizarre look. I feel like Xbox is done with the competition side. I really do. Like, I don't think Xbox is out here trying to... Xbox believes they're going to be the biggest and the best because they have the money and the means to make that happen. And nobody can stop them, apparently. And that's fine. And that's why, like, Microsoft is just like, yeah, Sony, you know what? We like you now. We like you now. Nintendo, oh, we love you. Wait till you see how much we love you. Because that's the reality, dude. Is like, Microsoft as a company knows that, yeah, we're going to do our own thing and we're going to win in our own way and nothing can stop us. But it's just difficult for a certain group of people to understand that that's not coming at the expense of anybody except maybe some developers and some studios that if they get acquired, there's maybe going to be some redundancy and layoffs as a result. I mean, I get it. I get it, man. It's just, yeah. I'm very interested to see what happens next, man, because the reaction that I've seen from the internet, from vocal groups of people with this developer direct is bizarre. It really is. Like, it was not what I expected. Granted, I don't know, there was a lot. I was bizarre yesterday, but it's just like, what fucking timeline are we in? It's like, I gotta know. This is probably the last thing I say before I wrap this up, because I realize we're almost at 3.5 hours. What timeline did I slip into that we are on the verge of seeing, potentially within the next 6 months or so, not even, we are on the verge of hearing the announcement from Microsoft that Halo and Gears are going to be coming to PlayStation, especially when you think about Halo, dude. And yet there are vocal groups of Xbox loyalists and players that think they're winning something. Like, and when I say winning something, I'm not talking about Game Pass. No, I mean, like, they think that, like, they've won some kind of war or some shit or battle. And it's like, what do you... I think it's like, it's almost like they're in shock. You know, like they're in shock. Like they haven't really come to grips with, like, what's actually happening. The same people who were, and I never use this fucking word, and I hate this word, and I use it painfully, absolutely glazing the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series X, all in with the power narrative. All in with next gen, baby. Now just none of that matters, even a little bit. It in fact, not only does it not matter, it's stupid now. It's stupid. The PS5 Pro and mid-gen refresh consoles are stupid. I'm telling you, dude, it is so fucking weird to see this. And I'm just, I'm so fascinated to see what comes next, because it's like, I can't believe, I don't know, I slipped into a different timeline, bro. Because the timeline that I thought I was going to be in is, holy shit, dude, Halo is apparently coming to PlayStation. I think it's time for you to shut the fuck up now. If you're not just talking about how excited you are for other people to play it, I think it's time to shut up. For real. But they don't. It's like, no, they still got something else to say in some pompous, arrogant way. Like, what are you doing? It is what it is, bro. It's all in the name of let's try to enjoy. Okay? I want to end this on a more positive note. Everybody's winning. From my perspective, everybody's winning. PlayStation players, you got more games than ever to look forward to across all publishers. You know? It's looking good. Hopefully PlayStation Studios can get on a roll again. We'll be rooting for that. If you're an Xbox player, I believe you are winning. You got more games than you're probably going to be able to play thanks to the major acquisitions that Microsoft made. You got Game Pass. And if you still want to play on an Xbox console, it's still there. It's still there. Microsoft didn't take it from you. If you're a PC player, I think you're winning too. You can play on Steam. You can enjoy the benefits of Steam. You can configure your hardware however you like. You can play you can play all Xbox games. You can play some PlayStation games. And if you're somebody who's going to buy the Nintendo Switch 2, I think you're winning too. You're going to get Nintendo exclusives. You're going to get more powerful hardware compared to the Switch 1. and you're going to be getting a lot more third-party support. So at the end of the day, here's the reality. The reality is gaming is looking pretty fucking good. Pretty good. And you'd have to really be a truly miserable individual to not be able to see that no matter where you stand in the gaming realm, there's something good coming your way. Did I leave anything out? You've been enjoying RE4 Remake on PSVR 2. You can dual wield and do a bunch of stuff that you can't in the regular game. It's so much better. I did play, I think, half of Resident Evil 4 in VR 2. It is awesome, dude. It's really, really awesome. But, guys, that is going to wrap up this stream. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time. I don't know. I was feeling quite energetic today. So I think we had some really good conversations. More to come. Obviously, tomorrow I'm probably going to be taking off. What's tomorrow? Saturday. We'll probably be back here Sunday. Just a reminder, if you are not a member, please consider becoming one. Okay? I'm assuming you should anticipate some more membership gifts coming, obviously, in upcoming streams. But if you're at all interested in the members content, we did a 2-hour morning with the missus today. Even crazier levels of energy. And it was a good time. So if you want to support the channel directly and you want to help me out and you want to help the community out, consider becoming a channel member. But I want to thank everybody for their support today. Before you head out, please hit that like button if you haven't. Thank you to everybody who dropped a super chat, who dropped a direct donation, who became a member. Boss, bro, come on. Very much appreciate it. And also want to give a shout out to Devil Shooter. Devil Shooter does the timestamps for the streams. Devil Shooter, thank you so much for what you do, man. If you guys see him in the comments, please show him some love. Show him some thanks. He does a great service for the community, and we very much appreciate it. And, yeah, I think that's going to do it. I did put out a video earlier, by the way. Meow, meow, meow. Indeed. I almost missed that. MRPD knows. MRPD knows. But, yeah, I did put out a video earlier today. If you haven't watched it, please go check that out. It's basically a news video covering stuff we talked about in the stream. And, yeah, that does it. So, guys, hit that like button as you leave, and I will catch all of you in the next one. So, until then, take care, everyone.